Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth. You have to go back to the roots. Go to the roots. Yeah, man, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, no matter how them try run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Subscribe now.
Entre más lejos, más feliz. Era un veneno y lo bebí. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Siempre se la peli esa actriz, pero ya vamos llegando al fin. Yeah, yeah. Somos felices a distancia. Ya no aguanto tu fragancia. Tú no eres consentida, me la tienes merecida. Somos felices a distancia.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afridamus report. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, usually I come at a different time and I see that some of you have already commented. I would read the comments as we go in. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome all of you to the Afridamus report. Please make sure you hit the like, it's free, super chats, share the video. I understand, because if you look at it, some of you might be new here, but for those of you that have always been a fan of the Afridamus report, you understand the perspective that is taken here at the Afridamus report. It's not based in sentiments, and just like most of the blacks like to, go on, and even Africans. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I am an expert on this type of topic is because I am coming not only from the black perspective in America, I have lived as an African, raised as an African. The type of African that the blacks like to pretend to be, the type of African that the blacks think they read about in books. You cannot read about being an African from a book. I'm here to tell you. I hate to bust your bubbles, because you know how I know this? Because I read the same books that the blacks read to pretend to be Africans. People like Dr. Umar that the blacks think he's smart. He read from a book. All his titles, all his accolades that he talks about. Guess where he got it from? From the white people. All this curriculum he talks about, his school he's building, guess where he's going to get it from? From the white people. There's a video of me circulating in the World Wide Web. And in this video, I talked about, why some African countries needed to be colonized, and that the white people left sooner, right? And some people were upset. And for me, it didn't faze me, because you know what? I know many people will be upset, but from my understanding of the world, traveling, meeting a whole lot of people, and being an African, living my life as an African, many Africans are, definitely ignorant of how the world really works, the wider world out there. Because the way things operate in Africa and the rest of the world is different. So how do I know this? Because I met lots of different Africans. Yes, you can improve on your knowledge. And what is that knowledge? To understand how other people operate. It is not technically other people being against you. If you are ignorant of how things work, you would always feel cheated. And if you're not willing to adjust, I'm not saying going along, it's like understanding how things operate. You would never get a leg up. You would always feel cheated. If you leave everything in the hands of other people to decide for you, come on, nobody knows what you want more than you do. This is the truth. So I'm going to be speaking from both sides because that's what my channel is about, the Afridamus report. If you look at it, my background, my background prepared me for this. I am not here to pretend that I am speaking in the voice of every African, but I am speaking in the voice of many Africans and many human beings in the world. Yes, the blacks, the people we call the blacks in America, in Jamaica, because the Jamaicans are blacks too, right? The people from Trinidad are blacks. So these blacks, the blacks are our first, what we call diaspora. No, truly, even though they were forced into this journey that they call the New World, they are our first diaspora. But the blacks lost connection over time. This is why there's a Jamaican musician named Motabaruka. Motabaruka, what did he say? It is not good to stay in a white man country too long. Motabaruka is right. Even me, Afridamus, that you're looking at one point, people, I realized I have lived in the white man's country for such a long time. I can't even believe I was thinking like the white man. Look, don't get me wrong. There are some things you can learn from the white man's land. But you see, the African and the white man's way of thinking, they are different. Because certain things, when it comes to morality, there's a difference. Some things are similar. But can you ever, my question is, can you ever be free in your slave master's house? This is the question here today. Are the blacks free? Even though the white men have freed the blacks, do the blacks want to be free? How come the Jamaicans, because the blacks are jealous of the Jamaicans, right? The blacks don't even realize that the Jamaicans themselves were enslaved. Rude boy, where you from, man? Guys, when I used to work in the prison, the white people there, they thought I was Jamaican. And they would ask me, they're like, where you from, man? I said, right near the beach, boy. You see? So they would just laugh about it. I said, right near the beach, boy. But they don't understand the difference. You see? They don't understand the difference. And at some point, you as an individual, where do you draw the line? Where do you assess yourself and just don't go along with what is being pushed? Because you see, all this black narrative, I'm just telling you the truth, man, because I have been in debate with white people who act like they are sincere, who act like they care about black people. Look, I'll tell you right now, no one can care about you more than you care about yourself. It's not possible. You know what you want as an individual. This is the truth. But you have these white liberals who, because they who pretend and say, certain things that the blacks, like I noticed this with the blacks, and there's Africans who swallow this. They are mostly either from the Congo, Nigeria. The Nigerians is a different ballgame because the Nigerians, they mimic it, and they try to hijack it. So with the Nigerians, you can tell if they are true about it or they have a motive to make. But the people like from Congo, Cameroon, some of like Kenya, like they would, they go along. Uganda, they seem naive. The Nigerians is kind of hard to tell, right? So it's different. But with the blacks have been domesticated. We cannot lie about this. I said this in a show and people got upset at me. But the blacks are domesticated. The blacks have been freed in 1865. But the blacks refuse to be free. They live in the wealthiest country. I'm talking about the cultural black, not skin black. There's a difference between skin black and cultural black. I know this because I live in America for many years. And in fact, I will do a show about how I became black because there's a difference between Africans and black. I knew this when I came to America. There's a difference. Because you see, the blacks, their history is from slavery. They can never overcome that. It seems like it. They can never overcome it. Because I notice wherever there's the blacks and the whites, the blacks, when they see your skin color, they assume you think just like them. There's a confusion there. I started realizing, like there are many Africans I notice, they don't pay attention to it. But I read lots of books and I hang out with the blacks, right? I took the time, even though they're not going to explain it to me, but I took the time to learn and understand. And I got to understand where the blacks are coming from. So today I'm not here to just, give you stuff without solutions. I am going to give you solutions. Because you see right here, you could see, you could be in your blessing and you can't even see it. So Dr. Umar Johnson went to the Breakfast Club. He calls himself Ifatunde. He said he's the Pan-African leader. All right? So Dr. Umar, as you guys know, he said he was building a school. But many a times I'm confused by the things he says. He contradicts himself. Here's my thing. When it comes to ideology, the way people think, there are some fundamental things that are important, that are tenets of life. See, if you go against nature, it doesn't matter. Like, for me, I don't hate people whatsoever. I can be cordial with you whatsoever. We could be cool. I respect you. But I'm not going to go with your ideology, because if you believe in certain things and you believe that's what is righteous, I don't have to go along with it. I would respect your right to practice that though. But now, that is not what is happening here, with the blacks. Are the blacks free in America? This is my question. The blacks are not oppressed by white people. I'm telling you right now, they are not oppressed by white people. It would shock you when I reveal to you who is oppressing the blacks. The blacks are oppressing the blacks. This is the truth. You look at it. Are blacks free? Imagine the Constitution of America. You have freedom of speech. You have freedom to be an individual. But You would see random blacks just because you're famous. They would Other blacks would give themselves the power. They would themselves the power to try to control your life. So Dr. Umar have appointed himself to be the arbiter of the truth. And when people question it, when I say plantation news, this is what the plantation is. Because if you look at it, how long have blacks been freed? Do the math. It's less than 200 years. Less than 200 years. So some people, either their grandparents were born in slavery. They were born in slavery, for example, or their great grandparents. So it's not that long ago. So you can only teach what you know. You can only teach what you know. That's just the truth. That's the reality. So just because they signed a document doesn't mean all of a sudden everybody's just gonna change their minds have changed, or whatever they've learned over all these years is just gonna change. No. Have you guys ever heard of breaking generational curse? In fact, I know many of you that watch me here, you don't believe in religion, you don't believe in these books whatsoever, but I'm gonna say it anyways. In the Bible, it talks about generational curses. You can break it. How is generational curses passed on? People, because you see, humans want to be all judgmental. You want to judge someone based on some type of deed that you see, but you don't understand. You're not looking at the spiritual aspect. You are only seeing what's in front of you. It is about what you are taught. One time I heard a man talk about how all of us, all humans, are born in sin. And at first, I didn't understand what he was saying. I was like, we're all born in sin. But when the man broke it down, I was like, wow, I've thought about that before. Because most of you, if you think about it, at one point when you were a child, think about far back before your soul, your spirit was disturbed. You were peaceful until other people, like parents, school, peer pressure, you name it, because all of us are just softwares that are waiting to be uploaded. You came into a world that is strange to you. You have no control over it. So this is why when I'm talking to you, understand this. I am not talking at you. I am just describing myself to you. And you just somehow happen to relate to it. The things that I see, how I analyze it. So when you see yourself in it, understand that I'm just being a mirror to you. Maybe you didn't find the words to express it, but I'm just being a mirror to you. Okay? So Dr. Umar, he intellectualizes everything. And a lot of these things, you cannot intellectualize it. How are you going to tell me? How are you going to express to me your level of intelligence and understanding of what you're speaking of when what you're expressing to be intelligent is from the quote unquote your enemy, the white man? I find that, a little bit contradictory. This is why there was a video that I played about a Ghanaian man, which I would repeat again. He talked about the IQ, and I know blacks, Africans of all sorts, Whenever someone brings the IQ, people have problem with it. I get it. There's just, for whatever reason, people don't want to, talk about this. They're like, oh, like they would jump straight to, oh, you think Africans are not smart? For me personally, I am an African. I have absolutely no problem having conversation about IQs. I have no problem with it. You see, I want to know what people are talking about. I want to know what you're thinking about. You see, I want to know about that. Let me see here. Nakmizi, thank you for the super chat. I say, please define mental slavery. Oh, don't worry, Nakmizi. I will get straight to that in a minute here. I would definitely get to that. No worries. Thank you for the super chat, and I'll thank you here properly in a second. So, Dr. Umar, like many other quote unquote Black freedom fighters. I mean, people, I'm just speaking from a realistic point of view. Imagine somebody appointing themselves as this intelligent being and simply thinking they can speak on your behalf just because you're the same skin color. This is mostly unique to, Black America. This is why I called it plantation news. Because even there are Africans who, culturally, they practice this. It is really hard to be unique, to be different, to walk away from that culture that they set up. It don't matter whether it's toxic or not. See, I'm able to speak about these things because I am a free man. I travel against the grain. That's just the truth. This life is too short for me to just come and just go along with whatever people show me, to just say, oh, this is how the world is. We speak of slavery. No one knows about slavery more than the American Black, right? How can you depend on your slave master to free you? How is that possible? So Dr. Umar went to the Breakfast Club. He's speaking, pretending to be a revolutionist, a brave man, a tough man. And many people applauded him. That just shows the level of weakness, the level of how many people truly are still mentally enslaved and they don't even realize it. There are Africans in Africa thinking that the Blacks are free. Are the Blacks really free in America? Freedom is mindset. You have to feel free to be free. Look, you can never be free in the house of your slave master. This is why there's a different thinking between people that immigrate to America versus Black people in America. This is why you would see a Black American, no matter how much money they have whatsoever, they would never feel free, truly. Because the truth is, the Blacks have never given up on Africa. They might even say it on lip service. They've never given up on Africa. Think about it, generation after generation. Their ancestors were speaking of their homeland, just like the Jewish people. There are Blacks who would come out and pretend, but their ancestors have instilled this in them. There are some who would pretend to accept America, but many don't. Many really, truly, they do not. So all this lashing out you're seeing, all these inadequacies you're seeing, have you ever questioned yourself? All these quote unquote wealthy Blacks, why do they still feel like little boys? Why do they still feel like they're under the control of someone? You notice, for example, Michael Blackson, he's from Africa straight, right? African comedian, built himself on the web. He is a as free as bird. Because you know what? The blacks see him as foreigner. They don't speak on him. He's free, living the First Amendment, free American. He's got an Asian wife. Imagine if he were black. So when I speak of the blacks, people come here pretending. Who are the blacks? You know exactly who the blacks are. You know there's a difference between the blacks and the Africans. Michael Blackson, nobody busts his balls for marrying an Asian. If Michael Blackson were black, they would be all over him. They would be all over him like white on rice. You know this is true. For example, Deion Sanders, a man of many talents. This man plays football, basketball, baseball, great guy. Built himself up, had talent, built himself. But today, look at people coming on social media, on the news. They have the nerve to criticize Deion Sanders for making the right decision, for paving the way for the blacks. This is why I have to speak on this topic. Many blacks think they are still in the plantation. No, blacks, you're no longer in the plantation. You are free. Let Deion be Deion. Leave this man alone. How many of you were out there running the laps for Deion? Dr. Umar had the nerve to speak on Deion, on the decision. What was his fat ass doing, running laps? Deion is a self-made man. He built himself. Many blacks are so hypocritical. They come and speak on men that built themselves. But they give themselves the right based solely because they are all the same skin color. I thought it was terrible with Africans. Like me personally, I was able to rid myself off of that. You can speak on me because we're from the same country or from the same tribe. I don't condone it. You see, I do not. But people, before I get into this, let me remind you guys that the blacks used to be Africans. So let me put some African drums in the blacks' heart before we get into Dr. Umar. This is Negropean talk. Let me tell you this. Because I have been telling you guys on the internet, I am the one bringing the true definition of Africanness on these streets here. How many Africans have you seen who have eventually, become black? I went through the process to become black. You know how I know I was truly black? When I visited Oakland, I was out in the streets late at night. I was at a gas station. These are real gangsters. I knew this area was mostly like, Crips out there. So this, I'm not saying this is a representation of, black culture. That's not what I'm saying here. But I'm just speaking of many Africans that come, or other people, to try to pretend to be like the blacks. You don't need to pretend. Just study the blacks, study their culture. You will learn. I learned how to sea walk. So when I went to Oakland, I was on the streets late at night, 2 a.m. I was at this gas station. I met these guys. They were selling steak. I'm talking frozen steak at 2 a.m. in the morning at the gas station. So I started talking to them and they realized the accent. They were like, "Oh man, where are you from?" And told them Africa. We started talking and, they had the boombox. They were, playing some music. They started joking around. They're like, "Do you know about sea walking?" I said, "What?" I said, "Put the Chronic on for me." The Chronic, Dr. Dre. I put my backpack down. I pull out my Chuck Taylors, these shoes right here, these exact shoes, and I had the blue on it. I started sea walking. I blew their mind, people. Blew their mind. So I wasn't pretending to be black. I learned their culture. There's a difference there. The blacks have their own thing, you see, but they can never ever be satisfied as long as they have people like Dr. Umar going out there talking the way he talks. I don't know if he's empowering or bringing blacks down. He sounds like he's begging. But let me bring some African drum into your heart, and then we'll get into Dr. Umar, and I'll do my analysis. Here we go. That's right. That's where you used to be before, all this mess you talk about. So let me do the copyright here, and then we'll get into Dr. Umar's talking point. Here we go. All right, we got that going. Now, guys, I'm going to play Dr. Umar here. Dr. Umar went to the Breakfast Club. Here's my thing. Like the Breakfast Club is a propaganda wing for the, you guys know, the Jews. Okay? First of all, for me, when I see that they welcome Dr. Umar there, I'm very suspicious. And the type of groups that he support. People, just pay attention. I'm going to just point out things. I'm not here to sway you of anything, but, I just want you to pay attention here, okay? Here, let me see. Sam Seal said, I'm from the West Coast. We don't see walk. Now, you lying. It's no Crips or Bloods in Oakland. We don't get... Man, Sam Seal, here's how I know you're not even from there. Come on. Look. I have entire videos of me showing me in Oakland. Okay? So just take this L, okay? I know some of you want to pretend like, oh man, how dare Afridamus come and tell me? You are also pretending like those Africans. They pretending to be gangster, knowing about the street culture when you don't. You're probably just some nerd playing video game. So please, just relax. All right? Okay, let's hear Dr. Umar here, and I would give you my 2 cents. I'll let him talk for a bit, and I'll come back.
That ass up early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Charlemagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
King Kong Consciousness is back.
Dr. Umar Johnson, welcome.
Peace and Pan-Africanism. Brothers, glad to be back.
Glad to have you, man. First of all, you look slim, brother. You done slim down a little bit, huh?
Yes, sir. I think I have. I didn't do nothing intentional, so let me not sit here and lie.
Okay.
I guess it's just, getting older and wiser, I hope.
And first things first, man, congrats on the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. I've been paying attention. I see
sir.
that you
Yes,
got
sir.
the building.
Yes, sir.
You've been doing renovations on the building.
Yes,
I saw you
sir.
put the HVAC in, all
Yes,
kind of other
sir.
stuff.
We're just about done. Electric is awaiting a permit. HVAC is awaiting controls. They're actually at the school right now. Plumbing is just about done. They got one more piece. Fire alarm is done. They got to check one more piece to that. The monitoring system is done. I'm hoping by the end of the calendar year we can get our inspection and have a grand opening in February, hopefully.
And you waiting on, you got to get accreditation too, or?
Nah, well, your accreditation comes from the state.
Got you.
So it's the state that gives you the license to operate.
Mm-hmm.
If you want accreditation beyond that, you can seek out professional accreditation bureaus, but that's not legally required.
Man, why don't you talk about that more, Dr. Umar, especially being that they tried to clown you for so long about, not having the school.
I don't mind that because if you know that your mission is genuine, it's no need to respond to the negativity because at some day, the fruit of your works will manifest.
Ooh.
You follow?
Yeah,
so
speak for
my
themselves,
thing
yeah.
is, why argue when you know one day they're going to see the school.
Now talk about the process, because it was a long process.
So this is Dr. Umar. He's talking to the Breakfast Club. DJ Envy. DJ Envy, I'm not quite sure. He looks more like Hispanic. New York, there's many of them there, but they say they are black. In America, he's black. In America, for example, those of you that are in Africa, South Africa, you know about Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah is considered black, right? In America. But in South Africa, he's colored. So if you're from where we're from, there, he's either mulatto or half caste. So they call those people, black. So it is cultural black, but you would confuse it with skin black. This is the confusion between the African people and the people in America, because even though in America they're not even fair, because if they go by skin, if you look at my skin color, me versus Mariah Carey, they call her black. She look nothing like me. But if I say no, she ain't black, they're gonna be like, man, Afridamus, you tripping. You see what I'm saying? But I know if she in my street where I grew up at, they're gonna be like, who's that white woman? I'm just telling you. But in America, Americans are super ethnocentric. What does that mean? They think their culture is more superior than everybody else. So therefore, if you don't agree with them, they act like, oh, you're hurting their feelings, because they want to feel right. They want to feel superior. They're the only groups of people that truly practice this race thing. Like, I'm just telling you, Africans that are watching me, some of you that are in the UK that pretend to be black, look, your black situation and the black situation in America is not the same. I've heard some of you talk about MTV. The blacks we the blacks, because I'm now black, right? Honorary black. We the blacks, we don't watch MTV anymore. We are on the internet. I'm just letting you know. You see? In fact, I'm going to do a show because it's almost the end of the year. Some people, you guys know it is that time of the year where people need to renew their black cards. I got mine in the mail. I'm going to share that with you guys here. I know there are some, I know you filled your FBA, but over this year, 2022, some of the things you've expressed, your blackness have been questioned. And I know some of you are still getting that pending email. Okay? Mine, they sent it in the mail. I got the card. My honorary black card have been renewed. They said, Afridamus, between 2021 to this time, you have been doing a great job sensitizing the blacks, sensitizing the Africans, So I'm so thankful. I just want to announce that. And when I bring that show, so that you guys wouldn't be surprised and understand that, yes, my honorary black status have been approved. And I also, in the letter, I received that Shannon Sharp, Stephen A. Smith, and others, Shaq, definitely Charles Barkley, I heard his was rejected. So I feel really good for this, Charles Barkley being born a FBA, rejected, and mine being approved. That means I'm doing such a wonderful job here with the blacks. Let me read some of these super chats here. Go Black Plow said, KRS-One, they only captured US. They did not conquer US. There's just something about that boom bap sound. Thank you very much for the super chat. Sam Seal said, Afridamus, I'm from, Brooksville Village. 9800 U lines in their Crips and Blood sets in Oakland. Show me in Oakland where they are banging colors. Man, Sam Seals, I mean, you don't know. If you were there, if you were from there, you don't even have to ask me. You would have known. But either way, thank you for the super chat. You know what? Let me thank all of you properly for the super chat here. Again, It's all good. Thank you here for the super chats.
Baby girl love my bop and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you.
Thank you for the super chat. Thank you. Here, let's continue with Dr. Umar.
It was a very long
Trials
process.
and tribulations
Yes,
and
sir.
hurdles. So
Yes, sir.
talk about that a little bit and what you had to get through, and also getting funding.
Yes, sir. We took our first donation in St. Louis 2014. We heard about the St. Paul's College, which was an HBCU closed in Virginia. They wanted $2 million, so we tried to raise it as quickly as we can. That was a bit ambitious. We didn't succeed. It was sold to an Asian company. Unfortunately, an HBCU sold to another race, I think, is a great disappointment for us as a people. So then we just started looking for a day school. So I went to Chicago, Detroit, Florida, Ohio, all over the country. I was just flying, looking for a school. And then in 2017, I was on LoopNet, which was my main source of new property, and I saw this campus in Wilmington, Delaware, that I had heard about but never had a chance to see. So I'm on my way to Nat Turner celebration, August 21st, 2017, the Great North American Eclipse. I stopped, I saw the campus, I said, this looks pretty nice. When I got back from Nat Turner, I had to go to Cuba first to get my Ifa initiation. I practiced Yoruba spirituality. Came back from Cuba.
Guys, you notice how is one man just practicing all this? And shout out to St. James. St. James said, St. James, shout out to you. Congratulations for you getting your black card approved. And he said he's gonna be receiving his moving to California, getting his reparations. St. James, shout out to you for making sure you stayed in the good graces to make sure you also got your black card approved. I want to congratulate you on that. So Dr. Umar, this man cannot only go to Cuba, he is going to make sure he is practicing African spirituality also. Okay. But this African spirituality, in fact, guys, don't worry. I have a video on a very wise man that speaks on this African spirituality. Because to be honest, there's so many of all these cultures that come and they tell their idea of what they think is superior. So this video that I have, I'll bring it instead of just, it's hard for me to take people like Dr. Umar serious. Because some of the things that he supports, in fact, I'll let him tell it and I'll give my 2 cents. It makes it suspicious, to be honest. Thank you, but said African spirituality is demonic. Yes, parts of it is. That's an entire topic. I would love to open the lines for people, to try to tell me what is positive about it. I'm open to it. But, I would never come to a conclusion. But let me allow Dr. Umar to go on.
And I got a chance to go into the school, and I saw it. I said, we want this school, but they wanted $2 million. We couldn't afford that. We only had $500,000. So I negotiated with them from August of 17 until February of 19, and they finally decided to sell us the building for the money that we had.
Wow.
So now we got the building.
So Dr. Umar, this is the begging part. So people are selling their buildings. So you have to come, you want to build a school. So you have to come there, beg, and make these people feel guilty to say, oh, I don't have. So if you don't have it, why are you trying to push it? You see why everything is half-assed? You have people who, maybe this is not your calling, but you're trying to force it. Maybe this is just your personal ambition. If it's your personal ambition, you should make sure you bring this to reality. But to try to guilt an entire race for this, I think it's absurd. It proves blacks in America are not free. They think it's plantation. For another man to try to fix their mouth to speak on how another man should spend their money, that's plantation. Go read books. That's straight plantation. If he truly believed in this as the way he's expressing, he can just go hustle and build the school himself. There are many people, I'll tell you, even here in America, black people, believe it or not, you can go look this up, who have private school. Just because Umar is on the online saying this, some of you probably think, oh damn, he's the first one. No, there are many black people who are not famous at all. I'm telling you, go look it up online, who have their own school. I have watched an interview of this black guy in New York. In New York, he has his own school. I've never heard of this guy on the internet. Like, this guy somehow figured it out how to make this happen. And he's black. If Dr. Umar, what he's saying, he's so intelligent, instead of trying to use shaming tactics on other people, because look, just because like, it's not all black people that share the same ideology, the same belief system. But now you want to guilt and shame other people into your belief system, into your ideology. This is what is happening. People's heart have to truly be in it. This is nothing unique. There are, like I said, there are many black people who have already done this, and they didn't beg the public. That's why many of you don't even know who they are. And these are quote unquote regular people. So I find it fascinating, because I watched this interview. That's why I'm so interested in sharing it with you all, because I've seen some comments online. Like, some of you are so gullible. I think you just want to feel good. Feel good is not real. This is why, 1 minute you feel high, another minute you feel low, because you have outsourced your sense of peace. You have outsourced your thought to other people. This is why many people suffer. Let me read this super chat here. Let's see. Kevin, thank you for the super chat. He said, interesting. You say most black Americans are still mentally slaves, but couldn't you say the same about people of African descent? Yes. Thank you for the super chat. Yes, I absolutely. I mean, like, I'm speaking and putting emphasis on America because of the direct history, and Dr. Umar is the one speaking. But I am not exonerating people from Africa. Trust me, we will get to that point, because the topic of slavery would come up here. I will address that too. No, this is not a thing to say, because some people like to say, oh, Afridamus, you pick on the blacks. No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get you to see what is happening. That's all. Because sometimes, you just go with the hype, thinking that, oh man, this just feels good. The person says something, you feel good about it. But have you noticed when you try to practice it in real life, it doesn't work? Because you see, like me personally, right? I've said this and I'll say it again. I don't care what you think or feel about me. The only thought that matters is what I think and feel about me, because that's the tune that I match to. You can feel all kind of way all you want, but if it's negative whatsoever, hey, it's your thoughts. You can think it, but if you try to put it into practice, now we're talking a whole different ball game. You might have plans, but now when you try to implement that plan, is it gonna work? You see, if your victim goes along, sure, your plan will work. But what if the person that is quote unquote supposed to be the victim turns out not to be? That's a difficult one, right? That's my whole point. So I'm not here speaking on things to try to take power away from you. I'm trying to put the power in your hand. Think about it. How much power you have been given to other people because they think certain things about you. That's the mental slavery I'm talking about. There's so many black people, they give so much power to what these quote unquote invincible white people think about. This is the truth. But just think about it like, okay, if you know this is how the person thinks, right? Your job is not to focus on what they are thinking about you. No. Your job is, what do you think about you? And you're going to do things according to that. That's just the truth. Survival of the fittest. Here we go.
Building. So what's been going on the past 3.5 years? Getting contractors who you can trust to help you with it. And contractors were not kind to us, man. They ripped us off. They scammed us. They stole out the building. The con is real. The con and contractor
I've been dealing with it for the last 5 years.
is very real, brother.
Absolutely.
And then finally, we had our second FDMG festival this past September the 10th. And I said, you know what? We may have to step outside the African-American community to get this done, because we've been waiting 3 years for our people to help us. Not for free. We could afford to pay them, but they wasn't being honest with us and straight up. And, of course, we know that's not all of our contractors. We want to be clear. We've met a lot of decent contractors along the way. But the ones who we had to use because they was licensed and certified where we are, they didn't really do us right. So I said, let's go with some white folks. And guess what? Here we are 90 days later, and the white contractors have gotten us to the finish line in 3 months versus 3 years waiting on our own people.
So what does that say?
It says that we need the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy.
Word.
It says that black boys have to be raised and trained in how to be black men and how to be committed to the black community, because I think as a community we've lost our integrity, our honor, our loyalty, and our commitment. If I was who I am for black people, for the Mexican-American community, that school would have been done 3 years ago. If I was who I am to the Asian community,
You see how, guys, Dr. Umar is comparing himself to all these other races of people? If I were Mexican or Asian, like, dude, you have to focus on you. You are not Asian, okay? Why care what they do? You see? So Dr. Umar, Kevin, you're right. Thank you for the super chat here. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin said Dr. Umar could have started small and expanded. Exactly. But he wants to compare himself to all these people. And they were, look, I'm not trying to, judge or see what this man is doing. That's not what I'm doing here. I don't want people to confuse that. Even though, like, some people have accused him of, fraternizing with some, pole dancers, aka strippers. Look, I'm just saying, maybe, the guy likes having fun. Nothing. Look, that's his thing. it's a black American thing to go to the strip club. Not all, but most. In fact, I've had many who have encouraged me and say, Afridamus, you should go to the strip club. And knowing me, why would I go watch naked women? Do you see me doing that? No. To go watch naked women. But hey, Dr. Umar was accused of this. But I'm not here to try to shed light on that. That's not what we're here for. We want to hear what Dr. Umar is saying, how Dr. Umar wants to talk about black empowerment, but he's begging the white people. He is exhibiting weakness on a huge black platform. People, let's just call it what it is. Let's not pretend. I've seen some people try to intellectualize this. Oh man, Dr. Umar bringing in the fire. Really? Really? You call this the fire? You call begging and showing weakness as the fire? Showing that you are not free from the white man. You are on your knees begging the white man. White Zaddy, please save me. White Zaddy, please put me back in chains. That's what this is. Because when I hear Dr. Umar raising his voice thinking, he is talking some sense. What I hear is, White Zaddy, please take me in. And Dr. Umar is not the only one that does this. I have seen, especially on Gambian, politics. Look, I thought the blacks suffer from identity crisis. No, but I think the Gambian people there in the politics suffer way more with identity crisis. At least, like the blacks are trying to, even though they lived amongst the white people all these years, the blacks are going out of their way to try to rid themselves from that thinking. I mean, you got to give it to the blacks for that. How many years they, under the whites, the same place, but they are fighting to rid themselves. You know what these Gambian people, go read some of the stuff they write or they talk about. Guys, you will be ashamed. You will feel ashamed. All their example is, oh, the way the white people do this, the way the white people do that. At least, yeah, Dr. Umar, even though he read the white people's book, he's trying to improvise it and make it his own. I can give some respect to that. You can disagree with the method or just shit like, but you can't be like, nah, man, this guy is not trying, because this is the system he's from. He's trying to improvise to moonwalk out of it. I recognize that. So there's a reason why I do these shows. Some of you might think, oh, here we go, Afridamus picking on the blacks again. Oh, Afridamus picking on the Nigerians. No, because it's for other people to educate themselves. Many of these quote-unquote African nations, can you call them African nations really? Are these nations? Are they countries? You see? So that's a whole different topic. That's another day. I want you guys to think about that. But let's allow Dr. Umar to continue. I'm not here to pick on Dr. Umar, but I'm just here to edutain you. That's all.
Anglo-Saxon community, the Native American community, that school gets done the first year we purchased it. We're not sitting here 3.5 years after purchase, just now getting to the finish line and needing white people to get us there.
And what is the curriculum going to look like?
In addition to your required math, science, language, and social studies, we're going to have financial and economic science, critical, how to do your own taxes, real estate, international investments, business planning. Because as we've talked about before, going to college is not automatically a recipe for success, but it is automatically a recipe for debt. So for those young men who want to go to college, we want to give them that ability to do that, but we also want to give them other means of making an economic impact and survival plan for their lives. So we got financial and economic. We have dietary and nutritional, how to eat to live. A lot of your
Guys, are you kidding me? Guys, did you guys hear what Dr. Umar, the curriculum for the school? Are you guys hearing this? Guys, these are YouTube curriculums. Everything he's just mentioned, you can learn this in the University of YouTube. These are YouTube curriculums. In fact, for me, in this day and age, why even if this is what he wants to set up? I mean, just set up a good YouTube platform and teach this. Again, Dr. Umar himself, this stuff he's saying, just beside just spewing out the theories, has he shown any proof? Has he shown himself to be a farmer? All this stuff? This is a question you need to be asking. He said he's a psychologist. I know they like to talk, but do they really make things happen? One time, when I worked for the state, the white man, and I sued them, took them to court. So they tried to Kanye me, sending me to their damn, psychologist to try to label me as crazy. So I got there. They got this, Hispanic woman. She's quote unquote the psychologist. And I got there and she asked me dumb questions. She's like, what do you do for stress? I said, ma'am, I don't know what you describe. What is stress to you? She said, like on your hobby. I said, I exercise, I work out. She's like, on minimum, how many hours do you spend in the gym? I said, it depends, but minimum 2-3 hours. She's like, oh, that's way too much. That can be exhaustive. And I asked her, I said, ma'am, do you work out? She said, yeah. I said, how long, what's the longest hour you've spent working out? She said, 45 minutes. I said, oh. I said, so it will be very hard for you to give me any advice on 2 hours because you've never experienced this. How can you truly advise me on this? I said, when it comes to the workout, don't you think you should be asking me questions? She felt offended. Do you think I cared? I did not. Just because you read some theories in a book, you're sitting there, you look like, your fat ass is sitting over there. You think just because you read some book, you're going to advise me on working out? Are you kidding me? When I'm looking at you, you straight up, you don't work out? Guys, that's an insult. And you have to point it out in a nice way. I get it. You think you read book, the things you read about, I do them. I live that life. The people you read about, I live that life. So this is why these people get disappointed when they come across the people they read about. You see, you're going to talk to me about working out. Are you serious right now? When I'm looking dead at you, the most you said you did is less than an hour, but you're going to advise me. This is what is happening in America. And in this conversation, Dr. Umar would do it too. Don't worry. I'll point it out. They have created this culture in America where all these people feel so entitled just because they read something. Now they think they're experts. You would see somebody read an entire book about nutrition and working out, and they are overweight. Go figure. And, they will call them experts. Don't you think if you are such an expert, you should practice this first. To me, that's a fake teacher. That's not real. For me, the real teacher is, if you're going to talk to me about working out or running marathons, you should be a marathon runner too. You should be lifting weights. But how are you going to be a quote unquote counselor or psychologist looking all depressed, face looking all droopy? You look like you need to talk to me. You look like you need my help. But you see, this is what they do. The government, when you stand up, they would Kanye you, because the goal is, when they put you through these psychologies, people like the degree that Omar is bragging about, the goal is to make you doubt yourself, to make you feel insecure. They try to use word salad. Just let them talk and just use one-liners. One-liners. It knocks them off their game. Just come there, physically assess them, look them dead in the eye, and spiritually murder them before the conversation begins. That's what I do. I'll look you dead in the eye before the conversation begins. Now, show me what you got. You're not about to, bring me down. You're not about to tell me about something that I am so sure about. So that's just the truth. Many people don't take the time to really study these things, to learn about it. I mean, think about it. How do these people, appoint themselves to be this quote unquote expert, and you don't even question this? I'm not saying like being an asshole, just straight up denying everything. No, if it makes sense, it makes sense. But how do you not question things? How is that even possible? I do. I question things. That's why I get the answers. But here we go.
The Sabi type of information, Dr. Laila Africa, rest in peace to both of them. That will be in there. Agricultural and agronomical. We're going to teach them how to grow. They have to grow their own food in order to graduate. We have to become agriculturally self-sufficient. In addition to that, spiritual and astrological science. I want our young men to understand how African people related to God before Abraham, before Jesus, before Muhammad. Those religions, in all due respect to all of them, they're only Christianity is 2,000 years old. Islam is 1,500 years old. Judaism is about 4,000 or 5,000 years old. But traditional African culture and spirituality is more than 250,000 years old. We dealt with God far longer from a non-Abrahamic tradition than we have from an Abrahamic tradition. Nothing's wrong with those. But I want our children to understand how we deal with the ancestors, how we deal with the earth and the land. And so we're going to have that. There will also be science of the black family. So that includes science of the black man, the black woman, the black child, how to be a gentleman, how to take care of your woman, how to raise your children, how to be a leader in the community. And of course, there will be
Guys, do you guys understand what he is describing here? This is like a socialist system. He's telling, like Dr. Umar said, he's a Democrat. He's a socialist because, like, he wants to teach all these things. What proof do we have that he's got this knowledge? Like, okay, he said he studied psychology. I mean, you're not gonna say Dr. Umar is in the best of shapes. Let's just be real. He's not Billy Blanks. He is not Billy Blanks. Billy Blanks was a badass. Even Billy Blanks never said this. So this man is it's like he makes it up as he goes. He makes it up as he goes. And look, I'm just here to entertain you, like I said. I'm not here to convince you of anything, but maybe there are things that some of you probably question that didn't make sense to you. Maybe I'm speaking your mind. You've already probably thought about these things. they probably didn't make sense to you, right? I mean, look, if I'm wrong, correct me. Like, you could be like, hey, Afridamus, no, maybe you're misreading this. Maybe Dr. Umar is such a badass. Dr. Umar is like, look, he read, The Art of War like 10,000 times, 48 laws of power, whatever, like you could, like, he's a judo master. He can shoot all types of guns, bow and arrow. This man can fish. He's a survivalist. Like, could be like, hey, Afridamus, you don't know this man can teach people. Maybe I don't know. As far as I know, the man is from the city. Okay, he's from the city. So I don't know they farmed in Philly in the city. I mean, I don't know. But we'll let him tell us.
Military and political science, if I didn't mention that. We do want to teach them survival skills, traditional African martial arts, both with and without weapons, understanding the world that we live in. Why is Africa the richest continent, but in the poorest condition? Why was Barack Obama made president and it had nothing to do with America reinventing herself? Okay, why has multiculturalism been used as a weapon against African people? So we want to make sure that we are graduating well-rounded young men who can go anywhere in the world and build independent communities. We are a nation-building academy.
So you guys know this, Dr. Umar uses African interchangeably with the blacks because he's selling a brand here. So to me, it just feels fishy. If you want to sell this to the blacks, just be honest, like straight up. Like, the blacks are not Africans. They are descended from Africa. Like I said, they were the first African diasporans. Now you have people who are Africans who come to the West, born and raised there. I mean, you're seeing even in the World Cup in all these, places we think is majority white countries, places like France. Their team is like an African, country. We're seeing Africans in all these places. Just maybe us Africans / blacks, maybe at some point we need to accept this, that maybe the white man's country is the fertile land for black African people to be great, to find out their talents. Maybe at some point we have to come to this realization and accept it. Because, we can't deny, like, the blacks are right in our face with all the talents. You see? The blacks that let go, we see it. I mean, you can say all you want about the blacks, but lack of talents is not it. They got plenty of that. That's for damn sure. They are amongst the most talented blacks in the world. So you got to give that to the blacks. How did they achieve that? You see? So there is, like, it's not all bad. I'm just saying, let's let Umar go.
We are not college prep. We are not military prep. We are not trade school prep. They will be ready for any of those. But above all that, we are nation building prep.
Can you answer that President Obama question? I'd like to know the answer to that.
Oh, Barack Obama was made president for two reasons. Domestically, he was made president to force alternative sexual lifestyles onto black children, sexual confusion as a means of population control. And internationally, he was made president to go to Africa and to force AFRICOM there, to build military bases all throughout the continent. And guess what? There's been about 6 coups in Africa over the past year, and every single coup was in a country with a United States military base. No coincidence.
This point he made, right? Okay, he's not lying. See, it doesn't mean, I don't want people to think I'm saying everything Dr. Umar is saying is wrong. That's not what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying. But yeah, he's correct. But try to say that to Negroes and see. Or even it's quote unquote African people. No, Barack Obama is a saint to them. Somehow I would see Africans argue on behalf of to say Obama is black. He wouldn't do that to Africa. When you see African countries where it's headed by Africans, born and raised there from that culture, we all see how many are treating Africa. So why you naive thinking someone who, yeah, his father is from there, but he has no connection to the place? So what are you talking about? But Dr. Umar is right. And whether people can try to deny it, but go back and look. Ever since Obama became president, follow what the culture has become. From that time till now, you'll get your own answers.
America only practices democracy when the person who wins the election has an agenda that is in the interest of America. Charlemagne, you can be elected president, but if your agenda is not in the interest of the white power structure, you will be overthrown. Democracy only lasts as long as the person winning the election is favorable to the agenda of the power structure.
That's why they overthrew Trump, because Trump is not about the New World Order. He said America first. And people, question yourself. If every country, every country, I don't know any other country where the president would be demonized if the president said, I want to make my country great. My country comes first. I want to protect my country. But somehow in America, they were able to convince Americans that if their president says that that's an evil, negative thing, that means he is racist. If the president literally doesn't stop people from coming into their countries illegally, there are people who are born in that country, born and raised. They protest against that president to allow other people to come in, not even realizing they will be replaced by those people. That's what it is. So they somehow made that happen. Okay? So Dr. Umar is right on Obama, like Bush, all those people literally work for, the global agenda. That's why you can go watch their videos. All these people, they all agree. If you notice, right? All these quote unquote ex-US presidents, if you notice, they are all friends. Guys, I'm just telling you, man, if people have differing ideology for real, look, I'm not saying they won't be cordial with each other, but to be that friendly, no, hell no. Imagine like one guy says they are Christian, because Bush presented himself as that, and we know Christianity is against the things that Obama came and promoted, right? Pushed. So if a true Christian who truly believes in it promotes it, can that person truly be cool and be friends with Obama? I'm not saying they're going to curse him out. They're going to, treat him as a human. But to be cool with him, like sharing the ideology, think about it. They are on the same bus, the same agenda. Until somebody different came who is completely different from them. But in America, everything seems to be toxic. In America, there's no middle ground. If you even watch the TV, you will see it. You're constantly bombarded. You either have to be a leftist or a righty. Like, there's no in between. There's no in between. Like, for instance, if they believe in these certain things, like even let's say the same-sex marriage thing, same-sex people, that doesn't jive with you, your ideology, your religion, your belief system. But if you reject it, they would say you are a hater. So talk about peer pressure. Like they relegate you back to when you were in middle school. You see your friends, like you got a friend who's smoking, you know, and they want to pressure you, or you know, like stuff like that. They're like, oh man, you're not cool whatsoever. So many people in America, instead of being children, is adults who are pressured. So many black people, it seems like they unleashed the ghetto side of the black thinking onto the masses, where the intelligent black people are not allowed in this sphere. Because if Dr. Umar was impactful, I know like the Jews on the Breakfast Club, they will not allow him to come there. They wouldn't want his message to spread. But if they are back to back, letting him go there, this is not his first time there. That means they want you to hear this information. So if these people want the people that own this radio station, these networks, think about that. They want you to hear this man. Aren't you suspicious about that? You have to be suspicious about it. Remember, you no longer see the KKKs because it was obvious to just the people that hate black people, there's a symbol to it. But go listen to mainstream media today. Even this Charlemagne that is talking here, Charlemagne, you notice how he wants to clear the Obama part because he's going to get a phone call after that. His job there is to defend those people. If you remember, it was the same Charlemagne show that Joe Biden came. He said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. He's just an employee there. I'm telling you, these people that Kanye was talking about, they own that radio station. They own that radio station. And I can assure you, those people are all about control. And especially, you know who they want to control the most? Black people. Those people are the ones that got their foot on black people's neck. Anything that black people come up with, they hijack it. Why do you think they hate Kyrie Irving right now? In fact, that movie, Hebrews to Negroes, I've seen some people did their analysis. To me, look, I don't, it's like you can't, why you want to, I want to give the blacks the benefit of the doubt. Okay? You don't have to agree with everything, but you want to tell me the blacks don't have the right to express themselves? Are you kidding me right now? Look at how many messed up movies are made about the blacks. So you want to tell me that movie cannot be out there? Look, guys, I encourage you to go watch the movie. Okay? I've heard some goofy people, talking about the movie is badly made because you are used to the white narrative. I'm not saying agree with everything, but how can somebody decide for you what you should think, how you should see the world? That's just my point. So if you look at how fake it is, right now, there's something going on. In case you're not keeping up, Jerry Jones, the Cowboys owner, apparently they said he was found in some racist pictures, right? So you got the regulars who beat down the blacks, like Stephen A. Smith. You guys know he beat down Kyrie, right? And Kanye. Kanye don't even play sport, but that didn't stop them. But Jerry Jones, they defended him. What does that tell you? Think about it, guys. Just think about it. Mental slavery. They had to come to Marsha's rescue. That's pure slavery. Just because they abolish it doesn't mean people mentally change. Think about it. You know, when you watch some of these movies, some of you think, oh, this is just a movie. No. Look, these people are reenacting like some of this stuff, some of these. Do you guys know they have what they call plantation games? Did you guys know this? They have this in Hollywood, in this these liberals. They, like they even play slave. Some of these actresses, like Whoopi Goldberg, I heard she's played slave. In fact, there's a video of that. Her and Ted Danson. Guys, go look this up. It's on the internet. Like, for instance, there was a comedian, white comedian, who was married to a black woman. It's always the black woman, right? And this guy had beef with Michael Blackson. I forgot the white dude's name, but it would come to me. So the white dude wanted to call Michael Blackson a nigger, but he can't say it, right? So he made a video with him and the black woman. So the guy would be talking and say, Michael Blackson, you like, so the part that has the N-word, the woman will be the one saying it. Guys, isn't that the same as the white dude saying it? But they're no longer together. So with Whoopi Goldberg, that's what happened. And then Howard Stern reenacted that. And nobody says nigger more than Howard Stern. Did anything happen to him? Nothing. So this is why I'm saying it is a plantation thing, because this is not normal. Why are black people picking on other black people? I don't get it. I don't understand this. What is the pretend love? What is this all about? This is how the plantation was. Go read Frederick Douglass's book and other books. You will see it there. I'm just here to help you wake up. But let's continue. Dr. Umar is not helping. Dr. Umar, I believe, wants to just help himself. That's it. Because if the man truly wants to build a school, it shouldn't be on donation. He should have started small, like Kevin said, and then people would come and join and be like, hey, this is a successful endeavor. This man, he's got the vision. But truly, guys, Dr. Umar has never run a school of his own. So he wants to start big. He's not battle tested. The man did not go in the trenches to get his hands dirty. To me, that tells me this man doesn't believe in the experience. Here's the thing. Sometimes you gotta get your hands dirty. You gotta put in the work so that the people see and say, yes, this is someone who has ambition. This is someone who has a dream, and this person would do whatever it takes to make this happen. And that makes people feel good about supporting that endeavor. Then it becomes, a thing that helps everyone else. But to me, when you just come out, you claim you have this dream, but you want other people to fund it, that's very suspicious to me. Just saying.
I think you see that all the time, especially with the GOP. You saw that in Georgia, right? They didn't care if Herschel Walker was a terrible candidate. They knew that if he got into the Senate, he was going to do the bidding of the GOP.
Who won the runoff?
Warnock.
Warnock won.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Here's what I'm going to say to that. And my maternal ancestry is from Georgia. It didn't make a difference if Warnock won. It didn't make a difference if Herschel Walker won, because both of them are candidates who are aligned with two white racist political parties. The Democratic...
Dr. Umar answered correctly. Did you guys see what Charlemagne is doing? He's trying to paint Herschel Walker, the other black candidate, as the coon and sellout because he's Republican, and this other guy, Warnock, is not. Dr. Umar is right. They are both part of a white political party. It's not like their agenda, they have their own agenda. They are being given agendas. They are employees just like you that is working right now at Chipotle. That's all what it is. They're just pretending to get voted in. You see, at least I trust Harsha Worker a little bit. At least Harsha Worker has accumulated his own money. This guy was a professional football player. He's not broke. I'm sure he's got several millions somewhere. You know, he's made investments. This is a self-made man. But what about Warnock? A fake pastor that supports abortion? Come on now. That can't be real. To me, he's more like the 419 than the man who actually, ran the ball and made those over 300 pounders eat some grass. Okay? This man made his money from his sweat and blood. That's what he did. So I don't see him, being swayed by money. But look, it's just human beings. You can never tell. But I would be more inclined to trust him. But they want to say, oh, the way he talks. Either way, the reason that they are giving, if it's the race thing, they are both part of white political parties. Unless the Democratic Party is the black party and they not telling us. Like they say, oh, we cannot have an old white man. Who is the head of the Democratic Party? You Americans, you make me laugh sometimes. It's funny. It's like being naked, your ass is out, but other people are seeing it, and you're like, no, my ass is not out. That's not my ass. And the people pretend they're like, no, it's not out. Just like in Russia, go watch Russian TV. They are laughing at Americans for the exchange they just did, releasing, Victor Booth. They call him, the merchant of death. That man sells a lot of weapons in Africa. But the reason why they had to capture him, put him in American jail, is not because America is a good, great country. They are saints. No. America is the number one arms dealer in the world. They supply all these wars that you see. They supply both sides to fight each other. It's plain and simple. So he's like the opposition. He's got the African market. He was supplying in Sierra Leone, the civil war there, Liberia, and Congo, many parts of Africa. So they had to get him out of the game, right? So mind you, that guy, this is high profile guy. They exchanged him for a female basketball player. In the name of race, a female basketball player that in fact expressed hating America. Do you see how they are laughing at American stupidity? Because they say Americans are way too sentimental. But Americans are ethnocentric because they think the way they think. Everybody is thinking that way and they have to go along. Some might pretend, but they know what it is. That's why when Trump came and said the world is laughing at us, people got upset. Like, oh man, he's racist. He's telling the truth. Most people do. They're like, damn, these people are supposed to be advanced. But what is going on with their reasoning? That's how they see it. Because the American TV have been brainwashing Americans. So this is why when Americans come in contact with the truth, they melt like candles. What they've been taught, just one simple steps is, if you don't like it, give it a word. Oh, anti-Semitic. Imagine, guys, imagine, right? For example, have you noticed, like, you can talk about Africa any kind of way. These people, they go on TV, they drag us Africans, they drag us through muds and dust, you name it. But one after the other, they keep going. Eventually, they give up because we don't care. We don't put a meaning to it. You have few Africans who cry, man, you can use this word. But maybe we should, right? Because here's a people who create a word. Like, let's say, anti-Semitism. Go look it up. These guys, they keep expanding. Look, if I can completely condemn you, like anything I don't like, if I can just put a word to it and spin it, and all the people I hate, I can just shut them up by just using that word, what do you think I'm going to do? You guessed it. That's what is going on. The reason why people are seeing it now is because they're trying to push it to buck break black men in public. People are like, whoa, wait a minute, man. Because they even try to push this narrative about saying black people are the ones targeting Jews. How many black people you know that even talk about Jews? Let's just be real. I mean, I'm just telling you, I haven't met many. They on the internet, but in real life, I don't know. They're not worried about that, to be honest. That's not what most black people are thinking about. But just think about the media narrative. Many black people, if you say anti-Semitism, they don't even know what that means. What does that tell you? Because it's not a thing. Some people came up with that and they try to beat that down your head. That's just the truth. Let's just call it what it is. Let's continue.
Party don't care about black people. The Republican Party don't care about black people. Raphael Warnock hasn't done nothing his first term. He's not going to do nothing his second term. And if Herschel Walker would have won, it would have been the same thing. One of the things we have to do as black people, we have to get off this Republican Democratic political dichotomy because it does not serve us and it wasn't created for our interests. That is a white intellectual conversation, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. Our dichotomy is not democracy or republicanism. Our dichotomy is freedom or oppression. That's the black dichotomy. Who belongs to the Freedom Party? Who belongs to the House Negro Party? That's it. Look at the Congressional Black Caucus. 59 African Americans, and more than half of them are old enough to be your grandparents. Why do we have people in the CBC in their 70s, in their 80s, in their 60s? Don't get me wrong. In African culture, we believe an old man for counsel and a young man for war. Mm-hmm. But look who we got in D.C. fighting for justice for African people. They're senior citizens. And we wonder why nothing's getting done because they don't want to pass the baton. And this is an issue that we have had in the black community for a long time. Not just Congressional Black Caucus, Black Church, Black Community Organization, where we don't want to pass the baton to the next generation. And why not? Black men and women are seldom given an opportunity to experience real power. So when we get a taste of real power, we don't like to give it up because we're not used to it.
Guys, I totally agree with Dr. Umar on this. What he's saying here, look around Africa. I'm beginning to think this is a black thing. Go around Africa. They like to use the age thing. They don't allow the young people to, morph into power. Look at Cameroon. They have Paul Biya there. This guy is going to be president for life. Many parts of Africa, even Ghana and all these places. Do you know, like Ghana's president, the guy is like 80 years old? I mean, when you say black don't crack, these guys don't look like they are super old. These are old men. Yeah, it seems like a black thing. They don't give up the power. I noticed that too here in America. The blacks that are voted into Congress, they don't seem to relinquish the power. Look at John Lewis. He died in that position. Isn't it the same thing in Africa? They either have to die in the position or they have to be removed by the AK-47. That's the truth. And in many parts of Africa, even like Guinea-Conakry, what prompted the coup there? This guy was like, what, 80 years old, almost 80? When it was time, he was supposed to serve like 2 terms, whatever. He changed the constitution to fit him so he can continue. This is an old man. Old man. So, yes, this part, Dr. Umar is dropping some facts. And like I said, the man is not wrong about everything. Just saying. And I dropped the link. You can hit it whenever.
That's why you got 100-year-old pastors running churches when you got 20 and 30-year-old young pastors in the same congregation who will never get a chance to give a sermon. That's why you see so many old leaders in black organizations, because they don't want to pass the baton, because the old black man's ego is bigger and stronger than a young black man's ego.
And I want to go back to something you said about Obama. You know, Obama was opposed to same-sex marriage in '08.
Oh, when he ran.
Yeah.
But the power structure told him you're going to support this when you get in there.
That was the second term.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Because
Do you guys see how Charlemagne is trying to refine this? Because Dr. Omar came, spitting that fact. He's saying things that most black people that probably listen to Breakfast Club, right? They just probably supported Obama just because he's black. They probably never listened to his policies whatsoever because someone told them. So Charlemagne wants to refine it to come and be, his first term, as if that makes a difference. No, the second term is what matters because that's what solidified. So he's trying to run interference, and you will continue to see that.
Agenda had not yet been set, but when the agenda was set, he had to carry it out because Obama belonged to a white racist political party.
Let me ask you a question. The students that want to attend your school,
Yes, sir.
is there
Thank you.
is there anything? What are the qualifications, if there are any?
Be black. There's really no qualifications.
So be black. So it
And
doesn't
if
matter if
there's-
you're gay or straight. It doesn't matter if you're mixed or anything. You can.
Well, a mixed African.
Did you hear this? He said you just have to be black. So there shouldn't be stipulations. So you notice they're using the word mix. Mix. So if you use the word mix, you can make that a 100%. Like I've told you guys here, like you guys know that I have a mixed child whatsoever, right? But he's a truly Soninke. Because I'm the one that carried the seed. I'm the one that carried that seed, in my scrotum, in my testes, all the way from Africa to here. You see? So that makes him a Soninke, because that's my seed. Okay? So, but if you live in a system where you don't have that privilege, like, understanding that this is your seed. The government have brainwashed you for many years. Look, people don't understand. Like in America, right? The government here is like the religion. Partly I think, it's becoming like China pretty much. Because the government goes out of its way to fight against religion whatsoever, to try to brainwash the people, right? There are many that are standing their ground. But in most countries, like in Africa, those people are more focused on other type of corruption to help themselves. They're not telling you how to run your family or trying to force ideologies on you. They don't have ideologies. See, if you got your own thing going, you probably would never have anything to do with them. Like they are not interested in telling you, what you should be interested in, what your family should be like. They're not interested in that. But when it comes to doing certain things, that's where the problem comes to. Sam Seal said, Afridamus, you got a white baby. Man, how can he be white if I'm not white? I just told you I carried the seed. Unless if I were white. Come on now.
For those of us who are revolutionary Pan-African nationalists, Garveyites, a mixed African is considered an African. I do not.
A mixed African is considered an African. This is why I did this show. So that, well, Somalis are mixed and they are Africans. I think the Ethiopians too. The North Africans are mixed. You know, Arab, Amazigh, some say black. You know, they're Africans. You know, but we know the type of African that he's saying. I know some Somalis are gonna come and say, no, we are not mixed, you know, whatsoever. But you and I both know better, right? We know better. Maybe they are their own people. It's in the Bible, Cushite people, sure. Who knows? But we know what Dr. Umar is saying here. We know this.
Discriminate between a black man with a white mother or a black man with a black mother or a black woman with a white father or a black woman with a black father. If one of your parents is an African, we accept you as an African as long as you identify. You have to be psychologically black and you also have to be biologically black. You understand? But we don't take issue with mixed race. Many of the greatest Pan-Africanists who ever lived were mixed race. There's even some argument that the greatest revolutionary of all time in his country, the Prophet Nat Turner, he may have been of mixed race. His mother may have been raped by the slave master. You see, so we don't.
So that's the thing. Okay, every mixed race in history is like somehow they want to make it seem like, oh, they were raped. I think that's an insult to some of them who, in fact, their parents were married, to make it seem like just simply they are black, it's a rape thing. You know, I mean, he could just be like, because he said he's related to Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was mixed. He was mixed. He could have used that as an example, right? But all right.
Take issue over that. On the plantation, you had no control how you came into this world. Now, with that being said, it's important that black men and black women, even if they be mixed race Africans, they understand that we will not perpetuate that mistake because it does not benefit the black community. So although you may have a white parent, you will only produce children with someone who looks like you.
Be careful drinking that. That's called liquid death now. You should.
It's water.
All right. Hold on. This is interesting. I have a caller here. I'll let him on and then I'll continue the video. TR, welcome to the show. Where are you calling from?
Hey, Han, I spoke with you before and I told you I'm in Canada.
Oh yeah. Okay, TR, sorry. Welcome to the show. You called last week, right?
Yes. So if you want to finish and then I can talk when you're done. It's no problem.
Sounds good. Okay, just hang tight, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Look at the can.
It's water.
I want to make sure.
I actually think that's.
Y'all not get my brother nothing. Just get you some regular water, man.
There's no more water.
The CIA is the CIA in here?
No, I think that's Wiz Khalifa's water. Actually, I think he's.
Oh, okay.
Wiz Khalifa from PA, so that might be okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna be careful because I know when Brother Malcolm.
This is so funny. People, Negroes don't know where the source of the water is, but they just slap their name on the bottle label. Now all of a sudden they own a water company. This is funny. All right, let me let somebody come. Salute my brother, the player from the Gamblana. Thank you, Ja. Thank you, Ja. And I got Go Black Plow. He said we own our talents, poor or illiterate. Thank you, guys. Let me thank these guys properly with the super chats here. You got the golden super chat here coming your way.
Baby girl love my bop and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see-through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you. Baby girl love my bop and I like me too.
Thank you guys for the super chat. Thank you. Let me continue here with Dr. Umar.
Went to the Middle East, they poisoned his drink.
I think
Malcolm
I heard
had
that
to get
before.
pumped. They tried to kill Malcolm in the Middle East.
We
Johnny,
ain't trying to kill you. We ain't trying to kill you. We
I know
promise.
y'all not.
Okay.
But I don't know who else around
You
here.
right. You right.
Okay?
You right.
Johnny Cochran was poisoned. And you know Johnny Cochran was murdered because Johnny Cochran was on the verge of finding out, or he was going to determine how much reparations America owes African people.
You guys realize this? Like, Dr. Umar, why is always like this quote unquote black pan-Africanist revolution? Whoever dies is the white people that killed him because they were about to discover something. Okay, fine. He can come up with some number. Let's just be real. Reparation, the people that have the power to enforce that, those are the ones, that can dictate reparations. I said it here. Germany paying reparations to the Jews is because Germany lost the war. If Germany had prevailed and their military stayed intact, you honestly believe they were going to pay? The United States, the power they had to the majority, technology, the blueprint was stolen from Germany, even the space program. Go read about Operation Paperclip. Like the US space programs, all that was set up by former Nazis. Go read about that. So, yeah, I don't know what he's saying here, but all right.
Right after that, Johnny Cochran ends up dead. Patrice Lumumba in the Congo, first democratically elected prime minister of the Congo, they poisoned his daughter in trying to poison him. The CIA threw the toothpaste. So we got to be clear that this is the history. Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, a leader of the New Black Panther Party, he may have also been poisoned. So we got to be careful about what we eat and what we drink, especially me.
So what do you think about the study of H.R. 40? You know what I mean? Because, that study is
The reparations bill.
Yeah, it's the reparations bill that's supposed to see and determine, who gets reparations and how much reparations.
Well, let's take it a step further. The state of California legislature just approved in the past few days a bill that will give each African American in the state of California $233,000 as a
So California is playing the game. So that's technically approved for what did they call the transgender people? So, now everything they want to pass, they fake it through the blacks because, they're like, oh man, the blacks are begging. They always blame it on the blacks. And, you got a few Negroes out there pretending to be revolutionaries, saying some big words, raising their voice, using their oratory skills as if, they're speaking the truth. But are they really speaking in the voice of all the other black people? So that's what it is. Begging from the people that you say subjugated you and hate you so much. So St. James, California approved it. Since you got your card approved, there you go. You say bingo. St. James, make your way to California so you can collect that check. Just make sure, don't forget to donate to the Afridamus report when you get that check. But we'll continue here.
reparations payment.
I think that's
And that goes for all of you out there in California. If you are just hearing it, you heard it here first or second. Don't forget to donate to the best school on YouTube here, doing better than Dr. Umar's school. Donate to this school so we can promote this good edutainment. I'm not over here pretending that I'm teaching, agriculture or whatsoever. In fact, I'm practicing it in real life. Okay? Not just theory or just talking about it. So Dr. Umar needs to, get his hands dirty. That's just the truth. Don't forget to hit the like also, please.
I think Gavin Newsom is just doing that because reparations is going to be the buzzword for 2024 to get black people energized.
It is, and it's also a trap. Now, first of all, the reparations movement comes out of the Pan-Africanist movement. We gave birth to reparations. It's not anything new. That's our thing.
From the Pan-Africanists, they invented everything. They invented the reparation. They invented everything. Okay? So these Pan-Africans, you see, some of you Pan-Africans that get mad at me, now you see why people get suspicious thinking all of you are scamming. This is because of this kind of rhetoric, this kind of talks. That's just what it is. Okay? This kind of talk, it makes people suspicious of all of you because we don't see you guys condemning it. In fact, you guys just don't realize we're paying attention. You guys are over here supporting it. We're like, huh. All right, so you guys, okay, this is what you guys believe, huh? So these guys, all of a sudden, they appointed themselves as the ones who get to decide for all of us what it means to be a Pan-African. But have you noticed how they have to be paid somehow? What about the rest of us? And we black and we Pan-African? But if you disagree, you are a coon, you are the hater. But if we're all black, what about my ideas? What, my ideas are not relevant? Because I said, lift yourself by your bootstrap? Oh, I guess people don't like to hear that. But let's allow Dr. Umar to tell us.
Although it's for the whole people. A cash payout for reparations is a trap. And the reason a cash payout for reparations is a trap is because so much of what needs to be fixed in American society for African people will take more than cash to do it. In other words, I give DJ Envy $233,000. Or if I take the Bob Johnson plan, he said each American African is due $350,000, right? I give you $350,000. Does that stop mass incarceration?
Nope.
Does that stop miseducation? Does that stop gentrification? Does that stop police genocide? Does that guarantee us access to wealth? I mean, in the state of California, what can you get with $233,000? I'm not even sure if that's enough for a house. And on top of that, the minute they give you the payment, they can reduce the value of the payment through inflation.
So there's no way of pleasing the blacks, according to Dr. Umar. There is no pleasing them because whatever option is offered, there is always excuses. Okay, 200,000 plus. Oh, the houses would go up. They would do inflation. So, okay, what do you want then? So you want the people that, quote unquote, are the ones oppressing you to create a plan for you. A plan. So you're begging them. Look, I would be surprised if this ever works, but I can assure you, you can read through history books. There were reparations paid, but look, if you look in my background, I have tons of books. Tons of books. I've read about wars from centuries ago. I go back. There are places where they paid reparations. Okay? Reparations, either the group that won, they feel sorry for the others and pay them some token, like the Japanese internment in America during World War II, when Japan partake in World War II. But you have to defeat the group you're trying to get reparation from militarily, because you have to be able to enforce it. If not, you're gonna be begging them. When they feel like it, they'll do it. That's just the truth. So when blacks speak as if they can, make this happen, it's confusing. Let me bring in the guest. TR, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. Tia, what do you want to add on to what Dr. Umar is saying?
Yeah. Okay, what I want to say is I think that when you're born into that type of, it's not environment, system, and your family is also coming from that, don't think it's so easy to have the perspective of looking within. Like all the
Right.
things you're seeing, I don't think that it's easy for them to see that because they're born into it
Hmm.
generation after generation, you know?
Yes. Hmm. I
So
totally agree.
I think we kind of have to sympathize in that sense, you
Oh
know?
yeah, that's why I'm able to break it down. There are many people who have the ego, right? But they will
Mm-hmm.
not see the ego blinds people. Because in America,
Mm.
this like they've normalized this.
Yes.
They've normalized it.
Yes.
So that's why there's people like if you look at other people, they're like, nah, this is weird. So that's why when you point out how weird it is, you would get in this battle debate with people. It's
Yes.
like they will call you all kinds of you're like all kinds of names. You're like, wait a minute. If you've got your point, you think I don't understand, just explain it. But
Mm.
but many just they're conditioned to think this way. And
Right.
and if you're conditioned to think this way, you can never stop yourself,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, there's no way of getting through. And also, I think it would be really good if, like, African Americans went to Africa to actually see what it's like before they form an opinion, you know?
Right, right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, there are a few who are doing that these days.
There's some who are doing
Um,
that. Yeah.
yeah, there are
Yeah.
some, even though some that get there pretend to be experts, but more and more are learning. We'll see.
Hmm. But do you
We
think
have
that we
Judah.
could
Oh, go
improve
ahead, sir.
do you think we could improve the situation for African Americans and Africans in general if we would talk and communicate more and exchange like with more respect, you know what I mean? More conversations? What do you think?
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because like there are I've always said it, like even here on my channel there were black people that started watching, right?
Mhm.
They would get mad at me, upset, but over time they understood where I'm coming from. And there are Africans who watch me, they get upset, but they realize, no, we're having a dialogue, and more, we're slowly, people are understanding, each other. It's not about emotion, it's about reflecting on what is in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we,
Yeah. And I think
absolutely.
that one more thing, Afridamus, I think that the system in America, I think that the the black people are tricked by the system. I don't think that they know that they're tricked. I don't know if the intention is for them to be tricked, but we're tricked. So, and I'm including myself too. So it's like you have all these hopes and these thoughts and these dreams and these opinions, but you're just on a hamster wheel because
Right.
you're mostly blocked and there's so much red tape. It's like you almost can't even live, you know?
Yeah,
So,
and this is
yeah.
not, like when I say, because like the blacks here are the first diaspora, right?
Hmm.
But this doesn't only apply to just them. There are many Africans who are way more naive than even black people who were born and raised here for generations. I have
Hmm.
encountered that. I've seen that. And I'm like, man, how are you more naive than the blacks from here? How's that even
Hmm.
possible? So I've
Hmm.
I've seen that also. And you know, more and more black people also going to Africa and around the world, right? Because you have to remember, many didn't travel too in the past. Judah, can you hear me?
Oh yes, can you hear me?
Yes, Judah, welcome to the show. Judah, what do you want to add on to what Dr. Umar is saying here? Do you think the blacks would ever graduate from blaming and begging the white man and everyone else?
Oh man, come on, man. Look, I live in this country, right? It has always been a blame tactics for black people. Um, even what Dr. Omar Johnson, the school that he's talking about, right?
Mhm.
Um, give yourself 5 years to come. Nobody is gonna be talking about that school anymore. Look,
You
um,
wait, you don't think the school will he already got the place, that's what he said.
Oh man, come on, man, come on. We know, like, look, most of the time, most black companies, few years they sell it. When they start making money out of it, they don't. They sell it. We have seen Dr. Dre sell his company. We have seen of BET. It's no more owned by black. So it's a lot of things. So look,
You got a
the,
point there, though.
see, man, look, people just want to come online and make things
But
to
but do
happen,
you
right?
think it's a like the it's more like an American thing? Like the blacks are in denial about just being American, and they continue to make it a race thing. Like, do you think these guys are just the ones at the top are just practicing Americanism, and the ones in the bottom still want to hold on to the plantation mindset?
Look, the blacks in America, they need somebody that they can look up to.
This is
Um,
true. Celebrities.
Yes, yes.
Right, right. They need somebody they can look up to. You go to like FBA, you see people follow Nasheed. You go to Pan Africanist, you see they follow Dr. Omar. So it's a whole. They are
They
looking
need a
for that
leader.
person. They need a leader, right? Ever since
Yeah.
you had Martin Luther King and Malcolm X came and left, they have not have that person that can really lead. So they can hold on to any straw, no matter what that person is doing right now. They don't really care. So they really want to, like, have that person that can speak. But now they are just, look, man, look, these things will never stop existing.
Mm.
The blacks will keep blaming the white. Sometimes, they come online and say, okay, they invented this, like you were saying, right?
You know
But
what? In fact, you know what? I want you to answer this part. Let's allow Dr. Umar to finish this point. I want to hear what you guys got to say about this point he's about to make.
Flooding the
right.
economy with money, so the 233 is only worth 120 in about 24 hours. And then guess what they're going to do after they give the reparations to African people? They're going to find subsidy programs to give to the LGBTQ, to the women, to immigrants, to other people. So at the end of the day, what looked like a step up for black people would be a step back. If I was in charge of the reparations conversation, number one, control of all black music must only be done through the black community. No non-African can control our music. Prince, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Biggie, Tupac. If the publishing, if the marketing, if the promotion, if the recording is not controlled by black people, that has to change. We own our own music. Nobody can own, sell, produce, publish, promote black music but black people.
Why is that so important?
Because music is one of America's leading export industries. America makes more money off black music than almost anything else that she sells. So if we control the music, we have a steady stream of global revenue where we can build a black Wall Street in every single city in America for black people. That's how much money will be coming in from black music. That's one. Two, all black inventions return to us permanently. Everything we invented is a permanent patent for Africans. And if you want to use it, you must pay us a percentage. The cell phone, we invented that. Internet.
Okay, so guys, he's
Come on,
saying
man.
all these things that he's saying. Okay, all
But,
these
but
quote
no
unquote
one is stopping.
inventions.
No one is stopping
Like,
us.
huh?
No one is stopping us from owning these things, and no one is stopping us from having our own music. This is the thing that you see when you live in Africa and you come to America, you just feel like, oh, the white control you. The white doesn't control you. You have the right to own it. But are we owning it? We are the ones that are
No.
selling it to them.
Mm.
They shouldn't be blamed for what we supposed to have. We do our music, and then we take it to them for acceptance. And now you are
Yeah.
blaming your own self for not. You are blaming the white man for not, giving you the right to own your own music. You own BET, and you sold
But
it to them. Doctor,
do you think what is Dr. Umar? What is his motivation? Like, why is he pretending like blacks have no power over their own talent
not,
like that?
not the blacks in America believe that their life is being remote controlled by the Europeans. They believe that they cannot do any other thing unless the white person does it, or they believe that once they become successful, or they believe that if something is going well within them, is being remote controlled by the white man. Don't tell me that Biggie didn't have control over his music. He did. When he got shot by his own people. And when you go into detail, they will tell you, "Oh, white man did this, the white man." But you blame the white man for your own actions, and that shouldn't be the case, right? We should start taking control of what we have, and own it, and keep it instead of selling it to the white man. I mean, that's where the problem is.
Mm.
Yeah, well, hear what he's gonna say about reparations, and they're gonna get into it
Oh
big.
man, reparations can
And
never
Africa,
look.
I want you guys to hear what there's a very important question that Charlemagne would ask here. Watch.
That's ours. Helicopter, that's ours.
microphone.
Self-lubricating engine, the microphone,
So black people invented helicopters. Are you kidding me? Helicopters. Like, look, we'll just let him tell us all the things that black people invented. Come on now, guys. Okay. This is Dr. Umar. Look, you guys remember last time I did the black invention thing, people were upset at me, right? So I'll just let Dr. Umar tell us. This is wild.
stop sign, the walkie-talkie. Why are those lights on right now? Because a black man named Lewis Latimer wrote a textbook that taught China, the UK, Canada, and America how to light up a whole city at night.
Have you noticed a black man is the one that invented electricity? He taught China and all these countries, but he never taught Africa. We still need light. Akon is over there trying to light Africa. This man invented the electricity. He never came help Africa. He helped Japan and all these racist people. Like, what's going on, guys? What do you guys think?
That's false history, man. You can't be telling things that really didn't exist. Like, no black people invented stuff like that, man. Come on. Let's give priorities to where it existed. The white people did it, and that's just it.
Yeah, because I mean, to me, it's like, I don't know why he's saying these things. It's just, but in America, people want to feel good. So he's giving them what they want. That's the truth. I mean, I guess blacks invented everything. Like Habibi said here, blacks invented oxygen. I mean, at this point, they might as well,
Without Lewis Latimer, you don't get street lights at night. You don't get constant illumination anywhere in the world. So guess what? Anybody running lights, you paying black people. Take back ownership of our music. Take back ownership of our inventions. Next on the list is all the confiscated lands. We had hundreds of thousands of acres of land stolen from us between 1865 and Malcolm's assassination in 1965. We need to—
You see, 1865, that's when blacks were freed from slavery. So slaves couldn't own land. So Dr. Umar might want to assess this. I mean, I don't know. Somebody has something. Is he saying the people knew the slaves owned land? I'm not talking about after a few years with the Reconstruction. I know that blacks did own land, but 1865, it wasn't many that owned the land because they were just slaves. They were coming out of slavery.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and a lot of blacks that moved during the Great Migration, it's not like they just left. They sold their lands.
The Great Migration happened from the south to the north.
Right. I've met, in fact, the way Dr. Umar talks, he acts like, I've met black people who from the South, they will tell you I've worked with people who they have, hectares, they have lots of land in the South that they inherited.
But look, I had a friend, right? Look, and he told me that it wasn't even all the blacks that were affected during the slave trade. There were a lot of black people in the north, right? I mean, not like in that were in the plantation. There were already blacks in the north, like Michigan and all these places. So these people had their lands and everything. They were living good with the white man. So they didn't have no problem with not owning lands and things like that. So when they say, oh, they didn't own lands, or they had lands, but they sold it. So you cannot.
Even if you read in Frederick Douglass's book, he talks about when he escaped from slavery, he came to New York, Philadelphia.
Right.
He was there were blacks in New York and even Philadelphia, especially Philly. They were established. The Motisa tribe, mostly light skinned, but They had their own newspaper companies. They had properties. It's not like they try to present it. This is according to even Frederick Douglass himself.
Right.
Like most of in the East Coast, they did have properties there. So I
Yeah.
don't know what
They,
he's saying.
they misuse it. They sold it. They see, this is the thing. Black people do not own things for long. Like when they own things, they sell it to the white man. Then they complain about, oh, they didn't have this, they didn't do that. But they are the ones that are doing it and selling it. So you cannot blame the white man for it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it in the city I live in. They call it gentrification, but it is the people who live in the apartments who cried. But the ones that sold the houses they inherited, they're not saying it. They just got their money and moved on elsewhere.
Why
They're not.
gentrification? They do pay you though. Like they give you money and take your
No, you
land.
no, you're selling it. It's not
Why you
free.
sell
It's
it?
not like
Exactly.
in America. Yeah, you gotta sell it. They can't just take it. Right?
Exactly.
That's not how it works. But let me put this part here, and I want to hear what you guys got to say about the African part here.
To put together a research team that's going to investigate all the land that was stolen from African people and return it back. Since most of our people are dealing with homelessness, we have the highest homelessness rate in Black America since the 60s. If we can get our land back, that will go a long way to getting a lot of our single mothers and their children off the street. In addition to that,
Single moms off the street? Are you kidding me? Walk around America. Not single mom. There are more black men who are homeless. So Dr. Umar is pandering. You don't see no, like, really, are you telling me in America, majority of the homeless are single black mothers? Come on, Dr. Umar. That's not reality. Let's just keep it 100. That's not the reality. Like, yeah, there might be few, but America is not. There was a video of this black woman who had like all those kids. She says, somebody gotta pay for these children. They gotta pay for my house. She ended up, the white people came together, they gave her a house. They gave her a
Yeah.
house.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
won't
I
let a
mean,
woman live without a house and she has a whole bunch of
no.
kids. They won't
Look,
let you do that.
look, in all major American cities I have been to,
Mm.
they have homeless everywhere. But what I have never seen is a woman with children on the streets homeless. Yeah, America, they do not let that happen. That's for sure. If I'm wrong, guys, put it in the chat. You can correct me. I just haven't seen it yet.
I haven't
I
seen
have
it.
not. Yeah, I have not.
America has about 10 major exports: gold, oil, water, electricity. We get a 25% cut permanently. This is perpetual. Every time America makes a dollar, we get 25 cents of that dollar as part of the reparations payment. American Africans, 60% of us make up 10 states. All 10 of the states that represent 60% of us are seaboarding states. We should automatically control the port so we know what's coming in, what's going out, and we also get a percentage of that. But
Do you guys hear this? So Dr. Umar is speaking like they have power. So America's economy, this is a government, it's a country. Like why is he talking as if they are a separate entity from America, the country?
Man.
But don't you think, Afridamus, don't you think, because I'm just talking about like what I see on YouTube and whatnot, don't you think that like being passionate and talking like that is part of the culture? That's the
Yes.
impression I get. Yeah, I
Yes,
think
it
it's part of
is.
the culture.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
because
No,
sometimes I
most
hear them
def-
say some things and I'm like, what? So, yeah.
Oh, Gullet is trying to know the song that I played here. Gullet, that's my it's called Zavi Rosan. Zavi Rosan. That's the song. You're not gonna find it. I have it. Zavi Rosan.
here's my biggest issue with reparations. 3. 1, psychological damages. I'm not hearing enough of the reparations talking heads discuss enough about the psychological damages. You know you can get far more from what you're owed psychologically than you can ever get for 243 years of unpaid labor on the plantation. The psychological damage is what affects us the most. Every time you see a black man with a white woman, that's psychological damage. Every time you see a
Here we go
It
with
is
the
actually.
obsession.
I
But
agree,
here's the
though.
thing. No, but here's
Mm-hmm.
the thing though. Like
Mm.
in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
First thing, first thing when I came here, first thing I understood, right? I noticed majority when it comes to like the black women, they don't see they don't respect the black man like I've experienced like in Africa. It's like
Mm.
the black man is seen like a little boy, and they have a control mechanism. It seems like they use the police, to control the black man. Like when I worked in the prison, I was surprised. Like when I read the files, how many of the black dudes were actually sent there because of it was a black woman
Mm.
that sent them there. So it's seems like it's so hard to live naturally because the roles is like reversed. Yeah, even the man has to play along, or else it's like the plantation. You don't think they used to call the overseer the white Irish man on the horse? They're like, the slave woman is like, I'm gonna call the overseer on them. It's like perpetrated. Like I've seen men who are scared of these women because they control them through that. So to have a natural, real relationship, man and a
It's
woman,
almost impossible.
it's
It's almost
almost
impossible.
impossible.
But let me ask you, because I'm like I said, I just watched some stuff on YouTube, but I think that at one point there was a time when that fighting spirit, that's what I'm gonna call it, it served black people in America. But right now it affects us, like the relationships we have between each other. So that's why the men and the women, we can't really have, we can't have
Well,
those.
it's even, I see it. It's even, and think about it. Even Africans who first generation immigrated, they even, it's hard for them to maintain things. I'm seeing more and more like that. They practicing the same thing, right?
Mm.
So it will be hard. Like imagine the blacks have lived in this for, at least, 243 years.
Yeah.
You see? So it's different. So this is just fantasy that Dr. Umar is talking about.
Well,
But
that's what I'm
let's
saying. But I think it's part of the culture, this whole like, I fight for my rights, I fight for my rights. But there's a time and a place, and it can't be in your relationship. You know what I mean? Like you have to be aware of when you're doing that and when it's not the appropriate time to do that. I don't know if I'm making sense even. I don't even know if I'm making any sense. Does it
yeah.
make sense? Does it make sense to you, Afridamus?
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. Like it's like combative all the
Combative,
time
yeah.
when it's not
All the
even,
time, yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
necessary.
Yeah. And I'm not
You
saying
know,
it as a put down. It's just an
no,
observation.
yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
again, like I said, the show here is about us being aware, of things, because there are some even Africans who come, they practice some toxic behaviors which they think they are copying the blacks,
Mm.
but
Mm-hmm.
they do it even way worse than even the blacks do it, because at least maybe the blacks can have the excuse that this is what they were born and raised in over
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
So but if you come from outside, you can't balance the two. That's a problem. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like mimicking the behavior. I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that
Let,
too.
let's hear more of his
Mhm.
ideas here.
Black woman with a blind wig on her head. That's psychological damage. Every time you see a little black boy or girl playing with a white doll instead of a black doll, that's psychological damage. When you see a black man take the life of another black man, that's psychological damage.
So they're gonna blame that on white people too. When a black
How?
man kills another, like So again, so you notice everything good invented is the black
Mm-hmm.
man did it. Everything bad is
Mm-hmm.
the white man's fault. Let's hear
Exactly.
more of it. Let's hear more.
America owes us more for the psychological Holocaust than she can ever owe for the labor. So we need to talk more about that. In addition to that, I don't hear nobody talking about the role the Arabs played in the transatlantic slave trade. I don't hear
The Arabs, it's Arabs, man.
anybody talking about the role that the European Jews played in the slave trade. I don't hear nobody talk about the role that the Catholic Church played in the slave trade. If we're going to talk about reparations, bring every group that was responsible, those who financed the slave ships.
That'd be Nigerians too, though.
There we go, bingo. You guys know in Nigeria, you could read in most parts, they have slave markets. They were selling humans, right? But let's hear the fantasy that been sold in America amongst the blacks about how the African slavery was, the cool slavery is not what it's like. Are you kidding me? This is stupid. Like, there are people who are still enslaved in Africa. Like, they want to make it sound so cool when these people are still not even free. They are slaves by bloodline. So
Okay, let's talk about that. There was participation from some African kingdoms. We know that Dahomey, for example, which was popularized in the Lion King movie.
The
Woman King movie. There was some African participation, but guess what? The transatlantic slave trade was a European operation. It was controlled.
did the Africans participate? Did the Africans sell? Willing buyer, willing seller. So, Dr. Umar, this is where, like, it's like you can't just keep making up stuff as you go. Like, how are you gonna say? You say we're gonna bring everybody on the table, and they ask you with the about how about the present day quote unquote Nigerians? Not all of them. The homie and the other ones, they're talking about. If we're talking reparation, but you see, reparation is between two groups of people. Who are you going to go ask the reparation from in Africa? So the blacks know they can't ask no Nigeria, the country, for reparation.
Man, you know they will never have reparations, man. When Obama
Yeah,
was in power, the best time they should have reparations was when they had a black man in power, but they
no,
didn't ask for it.
Obama said no reparation.
Right, right. So when see, and this is the alliance, right? Because every time a Democrat person wants to get in power, they keep bringing this stuff. Now
Yeah,
they are not
because
asking Joe Biden.
they're playing the blacks. Remember, like they were pretending that they were gonna do the reparation,
Right,
but
but now
why
you have
in
a vice, so you
2024 they're
have
gonna
a
come
vice
up with
black
it?
president, right? You have a vice black president in power. What is she
Is
doing? Why
she
are they not
black?
talking? They say
You
she's
do
Jamaican.
look. Here's the thing. Her father is from Jamaica. Her mom is from India. First generation. Here's the
But
truth. She's not. She's everything she's doing, as you can see, is
based
pretense.
based
It's
based on Dr.
pretense.
Omar's
It's
ideology.
all no. It's all pretense. The blacks also know the truth. They are
Exactly.
pretending because the blacks are a feel-good group of people. Many are waking up, but they know what the truth is. Like, she has no connection to them psychologically, spiritually. It's just she's like a hustler. She's in America. Okay, that's
But
just
when
the truth. She
when
was
Dr. Omar is
raised. She was raised. She went to high school in Canada. I mean,
right,
for crying out loud, it's just like the people that come to America, give birth to their child, become a citizen, they leave, come back, and become the leader. That's what this is. Okay.
oh
She
no,
was
no.
selected. So, because they know the blacks go by color, go look at when the vice president was first elected as a senator in the New York Times, her interview, she said that she was, it was written that she's the first
Yeah,
Indian American, first Indian American. So like, if it's convenient, she can be Indian because she mostly lean to India, not black. Okay, Like literally, remember when she went to the Breakfast Club?
Exactly. Yep.
Well, she was just, like, it's like even the white liberals don't even talk like that. She doesn't even know the blacks that well, even though they claim HBCUs. You think it's Pookies and Raiders going to those schools? That's why when I hear these people on the internet acting like it's just any, go to Howard. Howard got a lot of white people there, and the elitist, um, um, blacks, brown paper blacks, Kamala type blacks. It's not some Pookies and Rares. They're not passing the exam. They don't have the money. So again, it's that feel good. So she
So,
went there. She graduated. Okay, now she is black, culturally black. It's not skin black, culturally black. So it is time. Like if the blacks they don't wake up, they will be completely, their culture will be completely wiped out. They shouldn't even call themselves African because they have nothing to do with Africa.
and that's what I. Yep. You're right. You're right.
Mhm.
You're right. I mean,
Yeah. So what do you think about Dr. Umar making the excuse for the, because Charlemagne asked the question. I'm going to ask both of you. What do you guys think about when he said, hey, if you're going to bring everybody to the table, what about the African slave traders?
Mm. Mm.
Because they sold people, they received the vodka, they received the brandy, they received the guns, umbrellas, the mirrors, the horses, they received the product. So
yeah,
when
but
people say the Europeans benefited, that's because the Europeans put the slaves to work in plantation in the land. The riches are in the land. The products from the land, that's what the Africans receive. And even today, look at most African countries are consumers. They are consuming things that is literally they can grow in their various countries, but they still import it. So the same
Mm.
thing, like when they were trading with Europeans, the same thing. What could have stopped them from making their own alcohol, brandy? Imagine exchanging humans for alcohol. I mean, come on now.
Mm.
Let's be real. So if we talk about where's the wealth for the Africans, because they drank it.
Mm.
They drank it. It's not all Africans, but the slave traders. It's all written there what they traded these humans for. You see?
Mm.
exactly. I've always made a point that if these people actually know where they came from, who sold them, they should at least go there and also ask for reparations from the tribes that sold them in
Well,
like.
Cameroon sold a lot. So blacks, if you're
Exactly,
listening,
exactly. If they want to,
blacks, if you're listening, please don't just focus on Ghana and Nigeria. Cameroon did sell a lot of you too.
exactly, and African countries that did these things, especially, I mean, Cameroon was part of it, right? They should be looking for free land to give these people if they
No, no, no,
actually have,
no. The
you know.
blacks get free land. You guys are fighting over language. Just give them the money.
No, but this is what I'm saying. This is the thing, right? I always have the if look if African Americans had a country of their own, they wouldn't be coming to Africa to live or to find a safe zone. They didn't fight for independence in America. They only fought to have the same right like the white man. But this is the thing: if they weren't facing difficulties in America, if they were living really good, like extremely good, they wouldn't be coming. Like slave trade will have way be forgotten. The people are only talking about it right now
Judah, you're
because
making a point. You're making a
why?
point.
Because there's poverty on both sides, and that's why people are making it relevant. If you go to
Mm.
Israel today, the people in Israel, the Jews don't really talk about the
No, no, no. You know what? I'm gonna bring the Jews. Their topic here too.
right,
You know,
but they don't really talk about what happened years back because
no,
they
no,
are
they
forgot
do.
about it.
Oh no, those people.
Right,
No,
they do, but
those people,
but
Judah. No, those people. I'm telling you. To be honest, no, 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 no. Those people,
right, but they don't want you to
they
remind them.
will put,
This is the
no,
thing. They don't want you to remind
no,
them about what
Judah.
happened.
They will put the blacks to shame about slavery. I'm telling you. Who do you think?
Exactly, because they
Who do
assume
you
that
think the blacks? Who do you think This type of talk, who do you think the blacks learned it from? Who do you think they learned it from?
Oh, you think they learned it from them?
Yeah,
But guess what they told me? They said Diaz was even way worse than the slave trade. That's what they said.
I know, because with them, they, like, even if you slap one, if they explain it, they would make it's like 10 Africans could be dead. Gas them. You slap their one slap, when they explain it, they would make it sound more severe than the 10 Africans that were gassed. Think about it for a minute. Hitler,
True.
that name is forbidden. But King Leopold, in numbers, they said killed 10 to 15 million Congolese, and he
Exactly.
enslaved them.
Exactly.
But if you think about it, right? Like, there's statues of him in Belgium. They even have the Legionnaire Day marching. These are the people who are ex-soldiers, who used to go to the Congo. I'm talking going to Congo. These people, like, they were there brutalizing the Congolese. I've read where some of these soldiers would even bet like $5 among each other. They would see a Congolese in his canoe on the river, and they would bet
Congo.
they would bet each other to see who, like, they would shoot to see who can hit him first.
Did you know even when Patrice
Wow.
Lumumba was killed, they asked for his tomb to be
Oh
taken
yeah.
to Belgium,
Uh-huh.
just to keep it, to have it as that trophy of
Look,
having Patrice. Man, that's crazy.
I went through Belgium. I had to remind them about, about what they did in the Congo. I said, some things never change. You guys want to, they try to, target me as a black man and other blacks. So I had to remind them. I said, some things never change. I guess you guys want to treat me like Lumumba.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
I had to remind them, you
That's
know.
crazy.
Yeah, because there were other Africans there getting mad. I said, no, calm down. Let me take care of this. You know?
Yeah.
I said, don't be talking like that. But that's just what it is, man.
But this is look, okay, look at it, right? See, us Africans, right? We are made to believe that what happened in Germany or the Jews was way bigger, but we also have problems because even the Europeans killed a lot of Africans,
Oh
even in
yeah. Well,
Cameroon, right?
even in
Even in Cameroon,
Namibia.
the French killed a lot of Bamileke people in
Well,
Cameroon.
not even the French. Did you know Cameroon was even colonized? Cameroon was first colonized by Germany.
German,
The Germans lost control of Cameroon,
exactly.
after
After the First World War.
1918, First World War. So
Right.
because Germany lost the war, they divided Cameroon
The British and the French took
between
over
the, yeah.
Cameroon and divided it into two halves. So
Yeah.
it has always been a point of conflict.
Hmm. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, this is the truth, but that's just the fantasy. And this is not only Dr. Umar. I don't want you guys to think, oh, Afridamus, you picking on Dr. Umar. There, these pseudo African Pan Africanists too, who push this type of ideology. Judah, you know about this. You used to be a Pan Africanist.
But I'm not more into Pan-Africanism, but they just speak, right? They live on conspiracy theory. Most of the things that he is saying is conspiracy. Those things don't exist.
Judah,
You don't know
how
any
does
war.
it feel? Do you feel more healed, like now watching this? Before, do you feel weird that you used to believe this?
Look. My kind of Pan Africanism was different, right? It wasn't more into like, oh, blacks or doing this, but I was more into like bringing Africa together. But it just kind of feel like these things will never, it will never happen. So you are instead more stressed, more talking about unity than just living
Mm.
your life and talking about, hey, every country should do what they want to do. But this is the thing: African Americans have a different culture from Africans. I've lived in
Yes.
this country. I believe I've seen what they do. I've seen how they talk. these two people can never be together. You cannot. It's look. You can. This is why I say if they want to go to Africa, they actually have to have a place where they have to really settle and heal. Because to go in Africa and trying to say, oh, they have to mix, trying to, it's not gonna happen anytime soon, man.
You
It's
know
just
what? I'm going to actually. I've been thinking about this. Actually, I, I'm gonna bring the topic
do you
about
know? Let me ask you a
should
question.
black people have their own country in Africa. I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring that topic, and I want to hear what you guys gonna say.
Right,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
do you know that Africans married a lot of married more white people than getting married to African Americans? Have you noticed that?
Yes,
I
this is
think
true.
so.
Yes,
I
this
think
Right.
is
so.
true.
Have you asked yourself why?
Tell
A
me
black
why.
person, a black person really doesn't integrate in African community that much. A white person will eat African food and feel comfortable. An African American person will look at African food like nasty, and that's
That's
just a fact.
true. That's
I've
true.
seen it. You know, like
I
I've
had that.
seen it. I've watched YouTube
My
videos where I've seen a white person in Africa doing a lot
my
of things.
my ex-wife was black, and I put the laws down. She learned how to cook all that African food, all of that. Look,
Exactly.
I did not play that. I
Exactly.
eat. I like what I like, and you better cook that stuff. I don't care if you black,
Ask
white. You
yourself,
better go learn. That's what
ask
I do.
yourself, ask yourself if it was a black African American woman, do you think it would have been different?
No, she's black, African American,
Oh
FBA.
wow.
I
Oh
mean, I mean, I mean, most of it is okay. She buys it from Jack in the Box, but it was good.
Jack in the
right.
Box. Oh my god.
Grew. It was financed by Europeans. When many of the African nations found out what was really being done to us, because in Africa there was no concept of chattel slavery.
That's a lie.
There was no such thing as owning people forever. There
Another lie.
was no
Yeah,
such
that-
thing as perpetual ownership of an
That's a lie.
entire family line or a bloodline. You understand?
Complete lie.
There was no such thing as being dehumanized. European slavery stripped African people of our humanity. There's no precedent for that in the world
That is true.
before European chattel slavery. They didn't know what they were getting into. They were wrong and can be held accountable. But let's not take the onus off of the true power structure behind slavery, and that was the white man.
I need to say Portuguese.
Oh, Portuguese was in it, the Dutch was in it, the Italians was in it, the Germans was in it. Who
Look, Dr. Umar, if he's such a scholar on slavery, how did he not just the biggest slavers were, in fact, the Portuguese, the Dutch, the Spanish. Like, come on, look at all those countries, all those blacks there in these Spanish speaking countries. How do you think they got there? Like
Exactly.
today, it's crazy
That's
how
true, yeah.
people just forget about all this. Like the Dutch. In fact, I have an article where the Dutch, quote unquote, proposing paying reparation. The Dutch were the biggest slave traders. In fact, they built the first, like the first castle in on the coast of Ghana there.
Yeah, even the Portuguese, I think.
Yeah, Elmina Castle.
Right.
So
Yeah,
how many castles are there? How many exist?
there's plenty of them.
Wow.
Just Ghana alone got several of them.
Wow.
You travel
So
along
why
this
why don't you guys destroy them then? Why do you keep them?
Exactly. And that was what I was saying. Like you see,
because
and this is
because
common.
because people want to come and pay, homage.
Oh my
In some
goodness.
countries, they should have destroyed those things because it holds no water to see where people were taken as slaves, and you still hold it as trophy. It
It's
just
yeah,
makes
it's negative energy to
right.
me.
Someone said call it a dungeon. I think yeah,
It's a dungeon,
it's
yeah.
definitely a dungeon. I don't. Yeah, you. Thank you, Groove Zone. Yeah, I think that would fit because technic is a dungeon because they put people underground. I have visited, some of those forts actually when I was like, I think middle school. I went there to see in some of those forts and the slave thing. So that's why when I hear some of the people that say they're Indians and they say slavery didn't happen before, I'm like, I don't know about that, but you might want to visit and see,
But
Yeah.
Afridamus,
I
that's
think this
why.
did happen.
Look, that's why I was saying. You say it did happen, right? But me talking to some African Americans on the ground, right? Because that's where I drew my inspiration. The ones that they told me, they say they were here first before the slave trade. Most
So
of them were here first.
so you
So
believe,
I'm going
so
by what they told
you
me.
don't think slavery happened?
No, I'm going by what these people tell me.
No, no, wait, no,
They were
no.
here first.
Okay, forget what they said. Do do you fine? That's what they said. Like, do you truly believe them that this didn't happen?
Okay, if it
You don't think the blacks came from Western Central Africa?
but this is the thing, right? If it happened, I
No,
don't believe
no,
that
wait,
the
wait,
proportion.
wait,
I don't believe that the
wait a
proportion
minute.
of the slave
Wait,
trade was
Judah,
so magnitude
wait,
in such a way
Judah,
where, right?
wait, Judah, don't say if it happened. I want a straight answer. Are you trying to tell me that the blacks, when they didn't come from,
Afridamus,
West
look,
and Central Africa? Is
me and
this like from where we come from? Are you saying
it
they
might
didn't come
it
from
might
there?
be it might be a European conspiracy theory
No, no,
as
no,
well.
no, 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 no. Wait, wait.
No, no,
No,
no, no, no, guys,
Judah,
no. I think
Judah,
it's both. It's
Judah.
both. It's
Right,
both.
but I'm just saying
It's
because
both.
most of the time you go by what the Europeans told you. You have
No,
never
Right.
okay.
just because someone looks like you doesn't mean he came from you.
No,
This
okay,
is the
but
thing.
Judah, I understand. Like if you go to
No.
like some like Australia and Papua New Guinea and
Right, you have the
somebody's
Aborigines over
okay,
there.
you would say those people don't look African. I'm talking about the
Well, how do
blacks.
they not look
Wait,
like they blacks, right?
no,
They blacks,
no,
the
wait.
Aborigines.
But those Aborigines don't look like us. The
So
blacks.
how you
Wait,
supposed to look? That's what I'm saying.
no, but the blacks do look like us
Africans
though.
look like everything. The
Yeah.
blacks, I don't know. We have all
No, but
different looks.
no, I have seen plenty of blacks, right? I'm not talking TV black, I'm talking real life. If they don't tell
TV
you,
black.
yeah, I'm not talking TV black. I've met blacks who look, you literally think they're from Africa. I'm telling you, they're not even recently
They
from.
look more indigenous or
No,
yeah.
they
Yeah.
look like some of, I think they look like they're from Gambia.
No, but they will tell you you are African when they look you.
Right,
They
right.
can tell, right? They can tell you African, bro.
No, that's fine. But what I'm saying, I have seen. I'm just telling you, right? Okay, for example, like A86 Lyle said, O'Shea. I used to think O'Shea was from Ghana. No,
Or should
seriously.
Jackson.
Yeah, I used to think he's from Ghana. No, but Judah, tell me you are just joking. Seriously,
No,
no, deep down, no, truly, do you believe, from what you know to be true, do you
Afridamus.
believe that like the blacks didn't come from Western Central Africa?
Look, Afridamus, if you
This
come
is
over to
recorded. You do realize this, right?
Oh my
but
god.
this is what I'm telling you, right? If you come to me and tell me look, I'm from this part of this country, I'm from Gambia, I'm from this, I'm not gonna tell you no, you're not from there. I'm going by what you tell me. The people that I hang out with, the people that I
No,
have worked with,
look. I
the people that
understand.
they
I,
are the ones that are telling me
Let,
their
let
history.
me
They
tell
told me
you
most of them
let me
are
tell you what
Indian.
they're talking about. What they're talking about is the fact that they say the first man was definitely came from Africa. So when they're saying that they're found in other places and they didn't get there by no slave ship, they're saying that they migrated. That's what they're
oh,
saying. That
jeez.
they were there because of migration. So I
Exactly.
think it could
No,
be
no,
both.
but in America though, in America, okay,
Well,
I'm not saying. Here's the thing. I'm not saying, because this, there's deception, right?
But you are going
Why
by
is
what
that?
the white
Wait,
man told you,
no, no,
Afridamus. That's
no,
what the white
no,
man told you.
no. I'm going by the reality of, you look at the trajectory, the people who were here originally, right?
So you are going by looks.
Not just that. You look at the geography.
That's what you
Look,
said. You
look,
go, they look, you know.
look. Okay, what is the the natives here? They have their own language, their own culture. What will be the black side? What is their language other than what the white man taught them?
Don't you listen to their music? Don't you listen to their own call? That's if
That's
that's their
English. That's English. What are you
no,
talking?
but they will tell you their culture. They will tell you how. Go to Omo, man. He got a book.
No,
Go
a lot of them. No, I
about their
get it.
culture.
Look.
Right.
I'm not saying. I'm not being. Even though I joke
You
about
were
it, but
talking about
I'm
the
not
sea
being
walk. You were
dismissive.
talking
No.
about the sea
Yeah.
walk. That's their culture, man. The sea walk. The ones you would do.
Yeah, but there are still Africans who eventually evolved to that.
But
It
how
doesn't
can you say
mean
the Aborigines are not Africans, but you claim these ones are Africans?
because the Aborigines are not from Africa. They don't look like us. The
But they black.
blacks, even if look at Dr. Umar, you can tell he's got mixtures. But are you telling me that if you don't know Dr. Umar, if I don't know him, right?
Mhm.
If I don't know him, if I look at him, I would think he's African.
But now you are
Yeah.
going by look. It's like me looking at a white person in America and saying
If
he
I
looks
see,
like Bushi.
no, but if I
He's the same
see,
person
if
with
I
Bushi.
see, wait, if I see an Aborigine, Australian, okay, even those people from Papua New Guinea,
Right.
when I see them, I know right, like I can tell right away they are not African black. I can, I
But
know
they,
this.
so
There's
they
like
don't
a
look like
certain,
they don't look like us.
no, they don't. The
Wow.
nose, the hair is different. You know, the features are different. Like the blacks here, their features change because they mixed. These people, that's their original look. Maybe they've changed over millions of years. I don't know. But let me read this. Sam Seals, thank you for the super chat. He said, Afridamus, a black American broke on you. I know. I understand what's happening going on with you. No, you don't. But thank you for the super chat. You you think you know, but you don't. Okay? Now, trust me. It's not like I'm sitting here missing Jack in the Box.
Missing Jack in the
Didn't have a
Box.
hand either in slavery outright or colonization that came after it. And when you factor in colonization with slavery, you can't possibly blame an African nation for that because they suffered during colonization as much as we did in slavery. So I reject any proposal that wants to make African people more liable for slavery than the white people who owned, controlled, expanded, and benefited.
Oh, I agree
from
with
it.
that. Yeah,
All right. So this guys, I'm gonna finish part 2 tomorrow, but I want you guys to elaborate with this closing here. What do you guys think about what he just said? About because the Africans were quote unquote colonized, so they faced the same suffering as the blacks in slavery. Okay, there are many Africans, in fact, they were not even aware that white people ever colonized them. Some places it's like just administrative. So what do you guys do there? What do you think about it? And then TR.
Oh man, look, Afridamus. I'm not gonna talk much. I'm almost tired already. But this is the thing, right? It's high time these people cultivate that culture of standing on their own and protecting what they have instead of keep blaming the white man for we're more controlling them all the time, right? And it's just you can't be bringing the blame game often and often. The coach that was that left
Bro,
that
Dion, you're talking about Dion Sanders.
yeah,
Dion Sanders is like,
right.
I mean, I'm talking, he's one of the best athletes
Exactly.
ever. He's like Bo Jackson. Do you know who Bo Jackson is? So this guy, Deion Sanders didn't only play football.
Yeah, the
This man,
bashing man.
this man played basketball. Like, look, I heard from the grapevines that Deion Sanders even does archery like Bo Jackson. You know what archery is? Bow and arrow. That's how talented this man is.
Yeah, but they call him a sellout. They call him a
Because you know
con.
what? They are the losers. You know why? Because this man built himself. He built all this talent, and he came instead of them. If they are curious, they can try to be like him. How many of them have gone and helped him? When he was when he's
No,
practicing to develop himself. He
they say
came. He
he
came
didn't
to
even
Jackson, Mississippi, one
right.
of the poorest places in America, elevated them to show them what is possible. And
Exactly.
now, like it's the crabs in the barrel. In fact, he even his salary, right? His salary, he was giving them half. Not
Wow.
only was he elevating them, but they want to call him a sellout.
So why did
You
they
know,
say he disrespected B1 black first? They call him
look,
a
because here's the thing. Here's the thing. You cannot be an American and be one at the same time. There's no freedom in the B1 because you're gonna have loudmouth people who would never ever work hard to get themselves to where you are competing at a high level, but all they got is talk, talk, talk. All
exactly.
these people that are saying this, how many black people in America play sports? How many can go be a coach? How many have even had the thought to go to, Jackson, Mississippi to do this? So, if anything, Dion's move, right?
It was
He
a good
just
deal,
it's
man.
a good move because he woke them up to let them know, look, you don't have to always go and to the white man or complain. He just came and shine light on this. That should wake something in them. But instead, no, they went online, and the sad thing is you
Hmm.
would see some ex-players, these people got money, shameless
Yeah.
people. They come online, they want to talk about Dion. Why don't you go since Dion left, right? Why don't you go take over? Or when Dion was there, how many of these people were contributing their money? The man wasn't only coaching, he did not only coach them, he donated half of his salary to the
Wow.
school.
And
Like
it is
what else do they want? Look, the
yeah.
man, Colorado is beautiful. The snow there is even whiter and colder. The food there is great. The white people are nicer over there. They don't have crimes. Dion is like, I'm tired of, these blacks trying to
Oh,
break.
so you telling me his neighborhood was more of crime? Is that what you
Yeah,
meant?
that's what he said. The first thing he came when he went to Colorado, he's like, "Man, you guys better be happy you don't have crimes here." The blacks were there trying to robbing Dion's son, robbing him of his, bling blings, his chain. How can you live that life? Look, I'm around white people, okay? Look, I used to love it when I was the only black gangster in my white neighborhood. I get to wear my bling bling. I used to wear two watches.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful thing.
And
And I
that
wrote,
and
and I
people
wear
blame
my
him for living in
durag.
Utah.
I wear my durag. It was like Malibu's most wanted when I pull up in that neighborhood or the city center, and I'm blasting that music. It was
Right.
on. I
But
don't have to
they knew you were
worry about
African though.
anyone shooting at me. What?
They knew you were African. They knew you weren't
Look,
really as strong
look,
as
here's the thing. No, here's the thing. The white people, they see the rappers, the blacks on TV, they don't want to go in the hood. It's too dangerous. Why don't they just take a knockoff that is closest, which is me?
and and that's why I live in Utah, man. That's why I live in Salt Lake City.
I've been there. I've been to Salt Lake City.
Oh yeah, beautiful place,
I've
man.
been there. I've been by that big church there by the railway, by the
Oh
railway.
yeah,
Yeah,
Temple
yeah,
is
yeah,
right by Temple,
yeah,
downtown area.
yeah, yeah. I've been out there.
But but this is the thing, right? We are not coming out here to curse our blacks, but most of the time they are. That's why when they talk of gentrification, gentrification is actually coming because neighborhood that were constructed by white people, when black people take over, it becomes drug infected. It becomes a lot crimes. There's increase of everything. Things those neighborhood you cannot live in those neighborhood anymore, and that's why gentrification comes in take care of those
So
neighborhood and
tell me
transplant it.
why black people do that. I want to know why we do that to
This
each
is the
other.
thing. Black people
Well,
don't
it
know how to
happens
take care.
even in Africa, you know, like
Right, right. But in America, man, look, black people really
no.
don't
In
know how
fact,
to
me
take care of their
myself,
neighbors.
like some places in Africa, I wouldn't mind, gentrifying it.
Right, but this is the thing, right? When people and then when African Americans ask you, but oh, Africans come to America, but they don't integrate in our community. How do you want Africans to integrate in your community? Even most of you guys, when you have money, you want to go to the suburb where the white people live, and you
That's
want
true too.
Africans to come to America and live in your neighborhood in places that are so you can get caught up in a whole lot of bang bang every time. No, it's
So,
just
so
it's
do
like
so in your state, do you have mostly blacks or like Africans there?
in my state I have Hispanics, I have Africans, I have you mostly find Africans here, and everybody is working. The few African Americans that you have, everybody is working, everybody is friends. It's not like when you go now to Georgia, Atlanta, where you have everybody is just sitting down, just doing different kind of illegal things. But over here in this state, I mean, you can do things on the ground, on the low, but at the same time you have a job. It's not like bang. I mean, there's no east side, there's no west side. Like everybody
So, no,
lives
so
like
so
where they want to live.
they're not asking for reparations there.
No, man, come on, man. This is Mormon, man. Mormon. That nobody is asking. Everybody is working, but everybody got a job here. Everybody is actually doing good, and nobody is looking on the kind of car you driving. Oh, this. Oh, you got a whip. You got no. Nobody is doing that.
So
Everybody got a job.
Judah. Before I do part two, I want to, now, because the blacks, so what about Nigeria? Do you think, because they name Nigeria here,
Yeah.
specifically Nigeria, Ghana, but Nigeria to be specific, I mean, they got oil. Nigeria's got a lot of resources. They have oil money. They have
Right.
palm oil. They have a lot. I think they even have gold. Don't you think, do you think Nigeria should, cut the blacks a check?
And that's what I was saying, Afridamus, right? Look, see, I keep telling you, if the blacks actually have evidence for claiming that they came from
They
Africa,
do. What are you talking about?
right,
They have evidence. What are you
right. Now,
talking
now,
about?
now, now, if they do, if
They do
Africans
have
can prove,
evidence. What are you?
right,
They don't know
right.
the country, but they have
This is
evidence.
this is the thing. If Africans cannot write them a check, or if these countries cannot write them a check, at least they should look for a piece of land that is like the size of Equatorial Guinea. I mean, Africa is huge, man. Even Congo. How
Mhm.
many countries in Europe can fit in Congo? And Congo population doesn't even occupy the whole vast land. Give them a piece of land. Say, okay, we want to give you, and just for your own government and things, run it.
But
But
do you think
all
that
of a
would
sudden,
work?
it's not gonna work because black people have never know how to run governments, bro. Even
That's
their
what I wanted
neighborhood,
to ask you.
right? Even their
Exactly.
neighborhood, you go to. I mean, even their neighborhood in America is disgusting. Like I used to live in Indianapolis, Indiana, bro. There's a place called 38
You
and
were in the
Post Road,
hood.
East Side, huh?
You were in the hood.
Yeah, I used to live in Indianapolis, right? There's
Did
a
you?
place called East Side 38 and Post Road, 40,
Oh,
47th
East Side
Street.
38. Did you know? King Rere?
Oh man, KK, King
King
Ray.
King Rere?
Bro, I used to even when I
He
used to
lives
live
in the East Side.
in Indiana, right? The former vice president of Trump, Mike Pence, was the governor of Indiana. I used to live there. But this is the thing, neighborhood that were you see beautiful buildings constructed by the white man. The black people came over and the white people scared and they left that neighborhood. And out of a sudden, those infrastructures are all downgraded. Like the whole east side of Indianapolis is all transformed into ghetto. Like it's just crazy, man. Like
So why? Why do we do that? Tell me.
I don't know. It's on safety. Like every police that goes to this area gets shot like crazy. Now everybody is moving to the suburb. The suburb is like north of Indianapolis. Like everybody want to live northwest. And
Yeah,
you keep asking yourself,
That's King Rere and his people, man.
right, you keep asking yourself, but who is doing these things? And you find out it's
It's
black,
King Rere.
people that come on, man. And you ask me why am I moving to Utah? But because you guys are doing dumb stuff. Africans don't want to
Mm-hmm.
come here and relate to the things you guys do. You cannot hold
Mm-hmm.
on to a neighborhood and fix it. You go into your even McDonald's look like trash. Like you see the people that sell in McDonald's, but you were like, nah, I'm not gonna eat in McDonald's anymore.
You know
Like
what? You know what?
everything,
Speaking of which, today, in fact, earlier today, right? I
right?
went to, I went to Starbucks early in the morning, you know. So I went up there to get, you know, nitro cold brew, coffee, and I got there. I knew it was a problem when I encountered the affirmative action hired barista. The way she made that, the white lady came and corrected her. It's like some black woman. She's not a FBA though. I think
Right.
she looks like she's East African, like like Ethiopian slash kind of, definitely. I don't think she's Somali, but Ethiopian or Eritrean, slash, maybe a $5 FBA at this point. But I was just surprised. She's definitely not a straight immigrant because
She wasn't
she
she wasn't Pookie and Riri.
well, if she's not, I think Pookie and Rere would have done a better job. The white woman, think about it. If you are being corrected by a white woman with all those, the blue hair, I mean, you must really suck at your job. So,
Exactly.
she just went and, like I don't even work at Starbucks, but I know how that drink is made. So she just poured something. She's like, "Oh, it's ready." I was like, standing. The other woman came, talked to her, and then the woman went and poured it out and made me a new drink. And I heard the machine went, and then I told the woman, "Thank you." And then the woman tried to give her attitude. I'm like, what is going on? How can this woman be from possibly, Ethiopia or one of those places? She can't even make coffee. So she's an affirmative action hire. So sometimes I understand where the blacks are coming from because all these $5 FBAs, when they screw up like that, it goes in their column. And when I got home, because I have the roster where all the mess ups out there, I mean, I have the FBA column. I put her there because I don't know until if some of you know where she's from, please let me know so I can correct it, so I can remove her from the FBA column. But if not, she's gonna stay there.
So,
Look,
Afridamus, I want to ask you. So, it looks like, based on what you guys are telling me, when it's up to us and we're supposed to run our own stuff, we don't take care of it. That's what it looks like. And then we
exactly. We don't.
complain when the white man comes and he says, "Oh, an opportunity," and he takes it over. Then we complain. Like, what
Right.
is this?
Exactly. But
Well,
this is
even if
this is
another black person tries to do it, it's not like they would just go out of their way. It's just like
What do you
I
mean?
see, like they will go out of their way to make it difficult.
Is that what you
Like
no.
think?
they would not help you, right? Like look at like Deion Sanders, like example. Many of these people were just spectators. A lot of these people were not even watching Deion Sanders. I remember like when he first started the coaching, I was like following it. I was watching it. I didn't hear most people even online talk about it. They didn't
You
care.
know what,
Like
Afridamus?
I've always liked him. So
But
Afridamus. Listen, this is what I think. Okay, I think that black people don't like to see another black person in authority over them, and we
bingo.
start to act up. I'm just saying. I'm
Mhm.
just saying. This
Look,
is
I
our
know
and
biggest
what you're
problem.
saying. You're
This is
right.
our biggest problem.
When
and
I was an
another
officer, it is always the black inmates that try to challenge me, and it's based off
Mm,
of just they don't, it's like stupid little things. Like because I always like I would tell them, I'm like, is it really worth it? You think I'm just an ordinary Negro like you? I got the badge. I saw you respecting the white man. Why you want to
mm.
disrespect me? I
See?
said, if you want to disrespect me, I got authority and I'll exercise it. I said,
Mm,
why you want to disrespect? Like I always, talk some sense into a lot of them.
mm,
And I never have the push and pull with like people in prison because I always bring the sense, and some of them they would think about it, they come and they're like, you know what, man, you right, man, you right, you know.
But
Yeah,
you know why
Sometimes
we
you
do
talk
this?
to people, you know, sometimes they do it unconsciously, but like you
Well,
tell,
that's what
like
I
I've
was
had
gonna say.
people, they come, they are like, hey,
It's
man, you right,
unconscious.
you right. Hmm.
It's unconscious, but at the same time, it's not, because let me tell you why. It's because we don't like ourselves. We don't like our
Right.
appearance. So we're
Hmm.
projecting. And this is sick
This
and
is
it's sad.
true.
And I wish I could do something about it. I wish I could do something about it. But I don't know what to
Unfortunately,
do about it.
you can't. It's just, you know, because it's, you have to remember, it's a accumulation
Yes.
of experience over
Yeah.
time, you know.
That's true. That's true.
So it would be just hard to like say, oh man, snap out of it, or like I'm gonna wave a magic wand. But
Hmm.
with the conversation, it starts opening people's mind to, okay, wait a minute. Okay. Like it would get people to start thinking and
Mm.
analyzing things because like there are people who some things don't look right to them, but
Mm.
if they don't hear other people talking about it or opposing it, it's
Hmm.
hard for them to know if they are right or not. Imagine you are in a neighborhood, you know, or place, you're just bombarded with this one information. No matter how, you know, self-assuring you are, some, you know, like it might kind of break you, like where you eventually go along with the, you know, with the peer pressure because you're hearing same type of narrative over time, back to back, back
exactly.
to back. So it would be hard for you to just, you know, go against that narrative.
That was the same
It
thing
would
that
be
happened to
hard,
me.
like to, you know, unless you hear people talk about it over and over, debate it, challenge that form of thinking. I mean, like
Mm.
I look at it when I go, like I've talked to like Gambian people, like in the Gambian Facebook. I used to do that. You know, like I talk about religion and like or culture. These people get so mad. Like I even during I got kicked out of Facebook. There were
Mhm.
people who went and reported me, and first I was put like in Facebook jail, and then another time like, you know, last time like eventually I came back on a, in a different account. I even certain I think certain things I write when I try to post them, I don't know if they put like a block on me, like I cannot post it there, like that's an inappropriate comment, and I didn't use any profanity, whatever. It's like somebody like on, because Facebook, they seem to be hiding the truth. um
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
talking about like African slavery, and I didn't
Oh.
say anything that is not true, but they labeled my my post as a hate speech or some stupid stuff like that. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Hmm.
Are you serious right now? But yeah, so it's not, at least, you know, it's about conversation. It's about
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, let me.
Yeah.
Afridamus, my time. Let me say one point and then leave. Right, this is the thing.
Yeah.
When I came into this country, I was working in a job, right, and out of a sudden, I was working with some few brothers, African Americans, and they had a problem with the supervisor. They said one of the supervisors disrespected them, and they claimed he was racist. So they wanted all black people to leave that job and don't come to it no more. I was like, no, why? I mean, I just work. I'm African. I mean, I'm working here. I mean, I haven't seen no form of disrespect from this supervisor,
So
and
you
he
were
was
cooning, huh?
why, but I didn't know what kind of disrespect they
Oh, you
mean.
know what?
So
You know what? You're right. You know that's. I'm glad you brought, because there's like that difference where like the I've heard
uh,
black people say, "Oh, these Africans don't go." So when you come,
why?
most Africans, you don't realize like, okay, if you have a problem with somebody, that's between you and that person.
And that person,
Like
right?
that has nothing to do with me. But
So
they
why?
see it, that they see it as like a race
Why
thing.
they
Like they
say I
would say,
was? They call me booty. You kissing the white man's ass and stuff. But look, and when they quit the job,
they came one time and find my car on the parking lot, right? And they got some stuff on my they got some stuff on my car. They say, "Oh, they cursed me out." They say, "Oh, you still working this fucking job, huh?" All this, I was like, "But look, I have families back home to take care of. These people, they don't know like the kind of life African, and that's why I tell you, there's a difference between
Look, you,
an
look,
African and an African American."
you should have been like me, where like I go on the offensive with the white man and sue the white man. It makes the blacks run away from you because they're scared of the white man. they're like this African too crazy. So if you sue the white man, they're like, all right, we be playing, but this Negro right here, he's taking it. No, I'm not even playing. Like they at the job, they see you sue the white man, the blacks. I'm surprised, man. They don't even want the white man to see you talking to. I've seen people I'm cool with. They will see me, they walk past me, but then they see me out in the parking lot, they will come and be like, yo, what's up, man? Man, this white man, they be tripping. Or they will call me. Like, so so what I started doing is I don't talk to anyone on the phone. I'm like, if you want to talk to me, you'll do it where the white people will see you talking to me. They don't want to be seen. Look, I had my own cousin who worked at the same place with me. And he from Africa like me. He wouldn't even let the white man see him talking to me. All these people were... So I'm telling you, if you want... With the moment you sue the white man, they're going... All of them, including the Africans, they're not going to... Like, it's not just the black. Then see, the blacks, they just act tough when they're the ones initiating it. But the moment you sue and they want the job, they're not gonna talk to you. If they do, they will do it outside of work, not there. They're not gonna want anyone to see them talking to you. I've experienced this. This is not even, just being funny. I've experienced it. Like, guys, I swear, like these guys would literally in front of the white man, they would walk past me like they've never even known me. I'm like, what's going on? Like I've had one, like because he's like light skin, you know how I do the Mortisa joke. So I'm like, Mortisa walked past me. He didn't, I was like, what's up, Mortisa? Mortisa didn't even look at me.
Yep. Yeah, man.
Yeah, but guys, what do you guys want to say before we close out?
No, yeah, thanks for bringing me in, man. And my closing word would be: look, Africans should never take lessons from African Americans, because African Americans have not been able to build their own neighborhood. There is no way they can lecture Africans on what Africans have to do. Africans fought for their independence. They fought for their own countries. They have their own people that are governing them. These people never fought for their own. They fought to live with the same ranking style with the white man. Most of them, even when the slave trade were being freed in the South, not all African Americans wanted to be free. Most of them were happy, comfortable.
Some still would even want to be under the white man again.
And that's the same thing. The same thing the African Americans are accusing Africans of doing is the same thing most of them are doing in America. So it's the same thing. Most of them want to kiss the white man as they want all these things they are doing. It's the same thing Africans that they accuse them are doing the same thing.
In fact, I'm gonna do a show on the technique of the Africans ass, how the Africans kiss the white man's ass. I'm gonna do that show.
No,
you guys will. I'll bring that technique.
So pissed off.
Huh? Well, I mean,
I can't do that.
No, why? I mean, he can. I mean, I did that at work, man. It was crazy.
Yeah,
but guys, pissed off.
Look, I'm telling you guys. Look, I have learned a long time. Okay, ever since I've been dealing with, like, when I see Mortisa walk past me, and I saw my own cousin pretend not to know me in front of the white people, I was like, man.
Yeah, they scared, man, because he sued the white man.
I I was like, man, so I can't really blame the blacks if my own cousin pretended, you know?
Man.
And,
All right,
you know,
Afridamus, thank you so
but,
much, man. I'll
but
be
thank
out.
you. Thank you. Tia, what do you want to say before you close out?
I just hope that we can work together. I hope that time is coming soon. I hope we can all just unite together and build something and just make it great. That's all.
Thank you. Slowly but
Thank
surely.
you.
Thank you so much.
So,
All right. Have a good one. Guys, that's going to bring us to the end of today's show. We've been here 3 hours. Please hit that like button. Those of you that are going to come later to watch this replay, feel free to leave your comments. I mean, nothing. I mean, like, here's the thing. I know some of you come, you leave comments, you are like upset, but what are you mad about? Just leave the comment and do not write me an entire novel. Bring it down to the Reader's Digest, because nobody have the time to read 10 pages of comment. I understand you get passionate, you get all worked up by what I'm saying here, but it's nothing against you. Please. All right? So please make sure you like, and I'll do the part 2 here. And I can tell, a lot of my black friends here, they love this show today. Friedman Holocaust is showing his love. Friedman, Sam Seals, and Nagmizi was here earlier. Welcome in the house. And all of you, please, guys, share this video, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right? Or later on for most of you. I'm not sure what your time is. But until next time, I'm out.